Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Wargaming.net League North America. I am James Rockstar Grief, joined alongside by Randall Ruko Holcomb. Today is match day 15. Known to most of you guys as patch day.
Yep, and that's going to mean, it's going to possibly be the age of the mouse. But before we get into stuff, let's talk a little bit about the season so far. And you know what? Let's take a look at some highlights from that. And Apex has secured first place. They're completely untouchable. Behind them, by a great margin, is Dare, who barely holds on to second, with Top Tier and Eclipse hot on their heels. Aquatic M60 in fifth. 07 will be fighting to hold on to sixth over Valence and see if they can, keep that lead, keep their chance to get to the playoffs. Rival is out. They have no more chances to raise their standings, but they can still crush Dreams.
And crush Dreams they will try to do tonight, as they are in our first match as they square off versus 07. Then we'll have Eclipse versus Valence. Eclipse trying to put some pressure onto Dare Rising to get that second place spot and that free bye to the offline regional finals. Valence still trying to sneak into the playoffs. They're 2 points down from 07. And another way to look at it is if 07 get any sort of win tonight, whether it's overtime or not, that's going to mean that Valence must get at least 1 point from the match tonight to even have a chance at still making the playoffs.
But tonight's the night I think we're going to see some crazy fantasy points. The new patch has brought the mouse back into action.
As well as the Type 5.
Yep, and that means a lot of hit points, which means XP pinatas, as we like to call them.
Yep, and then remember, and not only did it get buffed as far as getting a gun DPM and gun handling buff, it got another 200 HP. So it's really just a giant HP pinata if you can pen it, which it did receive an armor buff as well. So it's going to be extremely hard to penetrate, at least from the front.
Yes, absolutely phenomenal for people's fantasy points and their ability to raise their standings in that regard.
Now, speaking of fantasy, make sure you guys set up the fantasy roster. Go to wgl.gg/fantasy WGLNA. Pick your best starting 7. Tonight's going to be interesting just because of the matches. So do what you can. Compete against Randall, myself, all the Gold League players, the ESL staff, the Wargaming staff, and the whole rest of the community for a shot at a Type 59 along with a whole lot of gold.
Absolutely. And, of course, don't forget to reach out to us on Twitter at WGLNA, #WGLNA. Use that so we can find your tweets and feature them on this broadcast. We love seeing those. Also on Facebook /WGLNA, where Rockstar and myself go live every single broadcast to give you tips and tricks on how you can put together your fantasy team. Also, every single day we have the question of the day. The question of today is, how will the 9.17.1 patch impact the WGLNA? Tell us your thoughts. Is it the mouse? Do you think the Type 5 is going to see action? Are you one of those people that thinks the grill is still viable? Tell us your thoughts. I want to know. Because Rockstar, I know you think the mouse is the major point of this patch.
It's not so much that I think the mouse is going to break things in the sense we're going to see a bunch of mouses.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a lot of things to deal with mouses because of all the buffs it got. So look to see what teams do to directly counter mouses, especially on maps like Himmelsdorf, Ruinberg, or Ghost Town.
Yeah, but overall, the mouse just being what it is, we will see those tonight.
Oh, yeah. It has an effective DPM now with, if you get the rammer vents and everything on it, effective DPM now of 3,000. That's right up there with the 215B, the T57, and the other high DPM heavy tanks.
Yeah, so we'll be watching out for that one. Now, let's talk about the first match tonight. Let's get into it. 07 versus Rival. Talk to me about 07. Who are you looking at?
I think the stars are aligning for this team just in the sense they just picked up Arclet, someone that already likes to think outside the box. You throw in this new patch, you throw in Type 5 heavy tanks, you throw in mouses. I think we're going to see some crazy stuff out of 07 tonight.
All right, and then on the side of Rival, we'll be watching to see if they can crush 07's Dreams tonight as I'm going to be watching out for Zakum, Executus, and Permablue.
Yep, probably the new addition to the team, was on high last season. Took off beginning of this season, and now he's back trying to help Rival. They are confirmed to be relegated at this point, so at this point they're just here to play spoiler, trying to upset some of these teams, make it hard for them, maybe deny 07 a chance to make playoffs. We'll have to see what they can do but now the pressure's off, so now maybe we'll see them start to perform.
All right, and then the maps for tonight's series will be starting on Himmelsdorf, so watch out for Mouse there. Mines, after that, few changes to watch out for on that one as well. I think Ruinberg will also show that the patches had a huge impact, and then Steps is the only map in the series where I feel like maybe things won't change so much.
I think we'll start seeing more Mouses. We saw last match day before the patch, we saw Mouse brought on Steps defense. We also saw a lot of grills being used. I think that will not be the case today.
Yeah, look for those changes and how that affects your favorite players, affects these teams' abilities to perform in the series. That's the big question for us today, because right now, let's just be honest, this match should go completely to 07. Rivals had a rough time. They haven't been performing well. And 07's been having a rough time at it too. They probably don't look at their entire season this time as a success. But the thing is, they still have a chance. Just like last season, because we had Aquatic M60s. Where were they in the standings going into playoffs? They were third, fourth?
They were the third seed going into playoffs. They lost to 07, who were the last place seed in the playoffs, and gave 07 their first playoff win ever. And they choked a little bit. Now they have a chance at redemption. They're in the playoffs for sure. They're guaranteed their spot at this point.
Well, almost. They can lose it, can't they?
No, M60s?
No, 07.
Oh, 07, yeah. 07 can lose it. M60s are safe.
Yeah.
07, they basically, if they get a win tonight, that should pretty much guarantee it pending the result of the second match, Valence versus Eclipse.
And to talk to us about all of this, we are going to be joined by the ever-suited Meadowhawk and the ever-smooth J Smooth. Hey, guys. That looks different. I think Meadowhawk looks like J... Okay, we're just going to jump straight into this. Gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. I'll start with Meadowhawk. Meadowhawk, let's answer the question of the day. What do you think this patch does for the WGLNA? Meadowhawk?
Oh, I think it's going to work out just great. A lot of different tanks. We're going to be ready to go. Excited to bring back the mouse. They might even let me play it one since it has so much HP. So we're excited, ready to go.
And actually, J Smooth, while we've got you, it looks like you're working on the goatee a little bit there.
It needs to be filled out still, but I've been working on it. It's tough.
Oh, I got that mixed up. I'm sorry. I thought J Smooth was Meadow and Meadowhawk, right? Meadowhawk is on the right. Okay, Meadowhawk, you're working on the goatee there. It looks a little. I like it. It's working with the hair.
Yeah, I'm working hard on it. I heard Nickelback was looking for a new lead singer, so I thought I'd make my attempt. Me and Chad go back. And I think it's coming in good, and I think it goes well.
I think it's working for you as well, sir. Now,
yeah.
J Smooth, looking over there, Rival, you guys are pretty much officially relegated at this point. So you guys are here to play spoiler. Now, are we going to see any fun stuff out of you guys tonight? You guys going to be crazy, or are you just going to do the typical Rival thing?
Well, Rival's always crazy. I mean, we're right on the edge of the danger zone. It's going to be fun. It should be a good match. It's
been a stressful season too. How are you guys? And this is for 07. For J Smooth. Sorry. How did getting that win last week help you guys out going into this match?
It was real good. I mean, we know that our season hasn't been the strongest. Everyone knows that. I've been stressed. I've kind of had to juggle, coaching football along with tanks. So, every day I'm out there teaching the kids how to play their positions, good teamwork, and how to execute the plays that I draw out. And then after that long day, I got to go play. I got to go coach them for football. So, it's a little bit stressful. I'm glad that, retirement's coming out soon. I'll be able to relax, do things like, what Tofu does. I don't know what Tofu does.
Yeah, what does...
I guess he trolls Twitch chat and Instagrams his meals and his food. So I can do that. I think I can do that.
Yeah, that seems like something definitely an option there. The tofu style.
Yeah. All right, last question for you, Meadowhawk. You guys are in a kind of tough spot right now. Valence are kind of on your heels. You guys feel the pressure coming into tonight, or are you guys just going in nice and easy?
No, we're ready to go. We got to get these points. We got to at least get 1 point to be right there, 3 points ahead. With they all are going to have a match up on us after tonight, so we got to hope Rival does what they do and lay over and let us get some points.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the face-off. As always, you two you guys are just the best. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the battlefield.
Yeah, we're hoping we don't get any major issues tonight and take it on.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see you in the danger zone.
See you in the
Screw
danger
you,
zone.
Lettiff.
Okay. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. That was so confusing because Jay Smooth was Meadowhawk and Meadowhawk was
Love
Jay.
the hair.
The hair was so good. It was so blonde.
Yeah, but it was a Nickelback or was that One Direction?
No, that was a
Couldn't tell.
Nickelback reference, I think.
Well, he made the Nickelback reference, but
Well,
could be there.
it was. I think the reason is because the goatee was a different color than the hair. That's
fair.
the Nickelback thing because he never. Let's not get
Okay,
into
okay.
that. Let's just get back to the match. All right, guys. So 07 wants Rival to just roll over, give them the points, and secure their position. Rival, well, they're looking at retirement. Jay Smooth's looking at doing other things than showing other people how to do what he tells them to do.
Yep. Well, he's like he has to take some lessons from Tofu, obviously.
Yeah, take pictures of your food. Make sure to just, actually, I don't know what Tofu does. Yeah, he was right. No one knows what Tofu Smurf did.
Well, the one
former
thing
leader
Tofu
of-
does is he knows how to find really good food.
Yeah, he does.
I'll give him
I
that.
can vouch for that. He lives in the area. He's taken me out a few times, showed me some great places. I have never been disappointed.
Yep, absolutely.
Tofu is also wonderful company.
Yep. Now, looking at it, and we're talking about the patch, we'll change the subject here.
Yeah, let's jump up.
Himmelsdorf up first.
Mouse. Maybe a Mausian?
Mouse.
How do you say is Mausian? Is
Moisen.
the prop
Moisen.
no, the tier 9.
Oh, the tier 9? I have
Mausian.
not looked at the name, and I'm not going to try.
I'm wondering what Mausian plural is now, because you jumped straight to it. The plural of mouse is moisten.
Yeah, I played against
Yeah.
it earlier, and I really wasn't too impressed. The armor can't really be angled that well.
Does it seem just like the
slow.
old mouse? That's kind of what
A
it felt
little,
like. to
even
me.
I'd go even worse than the old mouse.
Like a nerfed old mouse.
Yes,
Yeah, that's kind of how it felt.
and an awkward shape.
Yeah,
Got really weird turret shape, really like kind of curved round.
it was like someone just took a hammer to it and was like, how can we make this a little bit different from the already existing mouse? We'll just put a dent there, we'll curve that, we're all set.
Pretty
all
much.
good to go. I'm wondering actually if we'll see some of the other changes to the German line, some of the new heavies that haven't really been experimented with or haven't even been talked about.
Yeah, well, the new Tier 10 heavy tank has the Jag Tiger gun on it. For those that know the Fail Low, the Clan Wars reward tank, it has the giant gun, the same gun off the E100. Slightly different characteristics, but more or less the same gun. And what this new one does is a little bit quicker, doesn't have the same armor, and it has the 128. Once again, the gun off the Jag Tiger, so a little bit lower alpha, but higher rate of fire, higher pen, more accurate type gun. I think it's very similar to the one on the mouse.
And I kind of wonder whether or not we'll see some action from that tonight. But it does look like we're getting ready for map number 1, so let's head straight to it.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
And let the memes commence.
Yes. We're going to have a 50B, 2 IS-7s, 2 Type 5 heavies, a T-110E3, and a 5100 for 07 on attack. On defense, Rival's going to have an IS-4, 3 Mouse. Moisen.
A Batchat, and 2 AMX 50 120s.
Wow.
So the thing about the Type 5s, we haven't really even talked to this tonight. They got a new gun. It's basically a HE only gun. Has 75 penetration, but listen to this. It has 1400 alpha, and so when if you pen all of your shots, provided it's only going to be 3 of them essentially in a minute.
Yeah.
You have an effective DPM of 5,306, provided you have it completely kitted out. Now,
But let's put this in perspective with perhaps some of the Hesh tanks, the 183 TD that we've seen in the past.
Yep.
It has about 200.
230.
230, thank you, penetration. And so, well, it shouldn't perform nearly as well as a 183. So what you're not going to see is those huge hits for almost all of someone's hit points. Right.
Absolutely. And, looking at it, They're going all the way up to the hill. They're going to take this E3 up to the hill. They're going to turn that 5100 over. They're going to hold down on that north cap, and they're going to use the Type 5 to just HE spam stuff to death, I think is what we're about to see.
Yeah, and I just want to raise something real quick. We've just come up with a new patch, which means there will be some glitches and errors with the mods that we currently use. Unfortunately, I'm just going to point it out right now. You can see the numbers minus sitting next to a number of players. We'll see how that pans out for tonight, guys. Sorry about that. We'll get it fixed for next broadcast. But moving right along, back to the strategy. We've got east side from 07. They're just going to move on up, get on the high ground, and, well, I'm guessing slow roll it all the way to their enemy's cap, where Faustin, that 5100, might get turned on his side. Especially with a slower lineup like this. It's going to be harder for Rival to flex to defend.
I agree, absolutely. And that's something that a lot of people have just been focusing on the buffs to the mouse. So one thing people have to remember is it's still a mouse.
It's still slow.
It's still slow. It's still the size of a 2-story house. So if a team can really exploit that and open up different parts of the map and make that mouse move around, that's where they'll be able to capitalize on it and maybe get some wins.
And there we go. Actually, wow, Makos is so tall he got spotted.
Yep, he got spotted by, I believe it was the IS-4 over in the A5 Cubby.
Yep, that would be Knight. And that's something to keep track of. The Type 5 is so tall that it will be detected going downhill. And nice shot from Arclet into flak, long range right there, although the return fire is going to put 492 into Warbender as he gets into a low position. And look at that reload speed on the mouse. I haven't seen the reloader move that quickly in a long time. I'm even wondering how dangerous it's going to be if you can manage to keep mouse alive with less than 10% hit points. Because
you get that bonus with the adrenaline rush.
Which, by the way, every tank and every crew for these players is perfect, meaning they have all crew skills. They're at 100%, so they actually benefit from every single little buff, and that puts everyone on the same playing field.
Yep.
But it also does give people some amazing potential.
Yeah, and with that mouse having as much HP as it does, that's the other thing to look at is that HP has been buffed all the way up to 3,200. So an extra 200 HP. So getting it down below that 10% just became that much easier, or had a chance of doing it. And it drops the reload on the mouse down to 8.49 seconds once it has adrenaline rush kicking in.
And here we go. Push from Foster. He's going to turn his 5100 sideways on cap. And that's going to leave room for Andy Pans to get in behind him in a nice hold down position. Now, the mouse from Flak is going to be well protected, and Zakum and Tesla are just going to roll on up. They don't care. Mouse can cross the open, paying the toll. I've got enough hit points. I've got plenty of extra. And there's HE coming out, it looks like, for 20 damage into Zakum.
And the mouses are just going to push in. They're not going to care about the hold down. They have the HP to eat these shells. They're just going to roll around and make sure they take down Andy Pans.
It's important that Rival's mouse do not waste time, because as time is actually the factor that works against them. If they can quickly get rid of Andy Pans, they can secure that position and make it too dangerous for anyone to peek. But if they waste too much time, they're just going to get picked apart.
And Andy Pans is really making him work for it. He still has over 1,100 HP. Finally a penetration going through there, but these mouses are really paying the toll for this.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a struggle to try and get penetrating shells as Warbender's having to search left and right to find that one little opening. Because you have to note right now, the buffs to the mouse make it dangerous for pro players to try and snipe.
And Executus has gotten behind on the hill, but Commodore shoots him with an HE shell out of the Type 5 and takes him down.
How much damage?
I didn't see the total number, but that was the significant amount that he just hit that bat chat for.
500 plus?
So, it was close to 1,000.
Okay, I'm trying to get that in there. So now what we've got is we've got 4 tanks alive for 07 on their attack, and it looks like the mouse are managing to hold on. Tesla and Zakum have not taken too much. Commodore and the Type 5 is still alive.
Now, here's the thing to remember about these Type 5s, is they don't care how the armor out of these mouses is angled. Now, even though with the buff to the armor of this mouse, no matter how well they angle it, HE always does damage.
Well, 20 damage in one case.
Well, in this case, it's still 400.
Oh, sometimes.
So,
569 right there.
That wasn't even... That tank was completely armored, and he still did 500 damage. The Type 5 is the balancing factor for this mouse here. We're going to see it square off as Commander Jake comes in and finally takes down Commodore.
Rock's getting that kill. And Warbender? Well, Warbender's still alive in his... Nope. Never mind. In his I-7, that's going to allow Rival to group up with a number of relatively low health tanks. And Makos is reloaded, and he's looking for that last kill.
He's trying to find an unknown one.
Can he double kill Unknown and Zakum?
If they're close enough, he certainly could. HE splash.
Oh, come on.
But they're going to get grouped up on. They're going to get swarmed. He's going to find the shot. 671. And fantasy points just flying everywhere off all of these tanks. And it's going to be Rival walking away with the first win. Highly improbable, but...
On defense, hey, I'm trying to say, dude, you cannot underestimate Rival. They're the kind of team that if you show up and you do not respect that they have the skills, that they just don't play as tight as everyone else, they will run you over. Because the thing about them is they're decent at a brawl. They're not so good when it comes to the later game. But if they win early on like this one, well, they'll do it in style.
I can't wait to see the damage numbers on these.
That's gonna be battle number 1 to Rival, guys. If you and that's good for our fantasy points, man. Okay, break it down. Post game stats. Let's look at them.
Oh,
what is it?
3,400 out of Makos, just firing HE at Mouses. Tesla doing 3,300. Knight 2,602. But like, there's 5 players on Rival over 2,500 damage out of 7.
There you go. And Fosta going down in the 5,100.
But he was just being thrown away as a shield.
I really wish they do something a little bit more with him. I think that there's a lost efficiency in that, if you get where I'm coming from.
And if you look at it here, just look at all these points. Tesla 80 fantasy points. Warvander in the I7, 44. Knight doing another 2,400. The one I really want to see is Andy Pants. How much armor, how much did he block? He only blocked 3 shells for 1,400. I thought it would have been more for that, having all those Mouses around him.
I thought so as well, but looks like it's not. Now, I want to note that 1,280 was blocked by Makos in the Type 5. So the thing is, even with its rather significant health pool and with the armor combined, effectively it's a tank and then some change too. That's something to note. 1,280 damage is about what you could expect from a low-performing player on the team. Let's look at Executus in this battle. He blocked more damage than Executus got to actually pump out. And to put that in perspective of how significant blocking damage is. Now, if you look at the Mouse in this past battle, Tesla blocks 1,700. Looks like 1,900 from Zakum, and then only 300 from Flak. But all of that damage that was blocked, that's why Rival was able to win. That's why the Mouse can be a potent pick.
Yeah, and once again, though, I like the idea here out of 07 bringing the Type 5 with the HE gun, because it doesn't matter how you angle your armor, just like a 183. But with this Type 5, you have a 15-second reload, so you can keep those shells flying.
Yeah. And look at this. We've got the first few little tweets coming out. We've got a larger pool of competitive TDs right there. That's a good note. You're actually going to be widening the pool by taking the grill out of it.
Yep, and widening it we will see as we head into our next battle here in a second. I can already tell you just looking down at these lineups.
Oh, yep. And that's good. It's the age of the Mouse.
It's going to be one of those nights, guys. One of those nights.
Hey, I'm having fun with it.
Oh, this is awesome. Don't get me wrong. But you have to kind of just sit here and just take everything that we know and just kind of put it on the back burner for a moment and just enjoy what we're watching.
Yeah, there's been a significant enough change that now we have to figure everything out for ourselves all over again.
Because you have to remember, all these teams are trying to establish the meta right now, and they're doing that by bringing these tanks, like 2 more Mouses, 2 E3s, a Batch at a 1390, and a 50B for 07. Well, Rival, they're going to stick with the triple Mouse setup under Moisten, and then go with 3 Batch and a 1390. Now, what I like out of this from Rival is they're using the speed to their advantage. They're bringing those 3 Mouses, which is between them. That's 9,600 HP between 3 Mouses.
And reasonably, they'll block about 2,000 hit points in damage.
And that right there is more HP than most teams bring, because the old meta lineups we were seeing with a lot of 50Bs and faster heavy tanks with 113s, we only seen like 12, 13,000 HP. So the fact that 3 of them have 9K already, allows them to bring these 3 Bat Chats, and so they can use them as hit squads. They can use it to stretch out the map, to open up different angles and make those Mouses drive around and kind of crack some of these harder defenses.
Yeah, and the tricky part about all of this is that on the map that we're on, Himmelsdorf, defenders actually have the opportunity in a Mouse or rather slower tanks to flex from one cap to the other without losing too much time. And that means that if you bring a Mouse on defense, you can place it somewhere in between, and it's not going to have too much trouble flexing. But as an attacker, bringing 3 Mouse, that worries me, because you have time to get to maybe one of the 2 cap points, and you probably aren't going to be able to flex.
Yep. Now, one thing that just crossed my mind here is, speaking of trying to open up this map, especially Himmelsdorf, we don't see it this game, but the Type 5. I haven't actually looked at what the splash range is on those HE shells, because you could use it to reset this cap any tank hiding behind that building.
It's got decent splash. I think it's going to mean it's going to invalidate that little building on the number 2 cap, number 1 cap. Sorry, the southwest one.
So something to look at. Meanwhile, the 3 mouses coming out here to the 1 line, and they're going to run headlong into the bat chat just on the other side of Andy Pants. He hasn't actually spotted him yet, and he's coming around the corner. He may get caught out here by these mouses. That's got to be embarrassing, getting caught out by 3 mouses flanking you.
Well, he doesn't have anything spotted yet.
J Smooth's right there. He's poking around.
And Andy Pence might see something. Oh, not yet. He's getting the. He's
J Smooth has
playing this
an
smart.
idea. Andy Pants poking around.
What do you think J Smooth's thinking right now?
He's just looking for him, and now he's actually just going to cross out to the 1 line. So they don't know he's there, and another bat chat's going to come in, and they're going to find this bat chat. These mouses are going to roll around this corner, and they're going to catch Andy Pans out here.
Oh, he has no idea, and he finds it. He finds Fleck, he finds Unknown, and he finds Zakum, and I think he just, he might have found God here, and he's going to go down.
And Andy Pans is just going to get focused down. 547. One more shot from one of these mouses. Actually 26 HP, and J Smooth in the 1390 picks it up. And second game in a row, Rival starting off hot.
And those are some sneaky mouse from Rival. I got to give him credit. The timing on that couldn't have been better. I don't think they intended it, but, well, things work out. And that's going to mean Rival's going to have a little bit easier time at this attack.
3 blind mice just getting into the right spot at the right time and finding Andy Pans.
They can't see a thing out there, can they?
Let's see if we can find out what the equipment is.
The equipment's not working right now. So it's going to be a flex. And actually, Rockstar, I would like to take a listen in with Rival. I want to know what they're up to and what they're talking about. So let's hear what's going on Rival's comms.
Our mouse is to drive back this way and then come up this, and we're going to drive you. I think we're going to drive you like this up in here. Okay?
Okay. On the D or through the courtyard?
You're gonna come on the courtyard, so you're gonna come out this way when you cross in.
Up and in. Looks like he might have left.
Okay.
Oh, if that E3's there, they might have the other one A5?
Probably A4, A5.
I'm poking and I'm not getting.
Actually, I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna drive, honestly, probably like in here, and then have our bat chats come this way. And then 1390, you just keep vision on the 1-2.
Still not being lit at all.
I got spotted poking the window, so yeah, there's probably a guy in there.
Okay.
6 minutes.
Not the fastest sync.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, our mice. Honestly, you're not lit, right?
No.
Negative Ghost Rider.
Okay. You're gonna come this way. When the
down
mice
the
push,
D? Down the D?
Yeah, you're going all the way down the D.
Right.
All the way down.
Yeah, it's hard. That's a really big D.
And then our bats are gonna push through this way, and we're gonna clear out this guy.
It's like Meadowhawk down.
Nice.
I'm just trying to get their 1390 to back off so he doesn't light our mouse push.
Do you want any cat pressure?
No. I don't want them to know that you're there. See, now I got their 1390 just to fuck off. So.
Eat. Crossing.
Oh, to get replaced by an E3?
Okay, you're going all the way down this way.
You want us to push into C3?
Yeah, you're pushing into C3.
Could be a cross.
Let's
we can't
form
fit
up
all
on
three
this
of us.
No,
corner.
because our bats are gonna come this way and we're gonna clear out their rear. And you guys have so much HP that's gonna take them fucking forever.
Okay, can you probe south a bit more?
More? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, bats, let's get ready. They're about to do this. Okay.
Alright, hold on.
Yep,
Let's
coming to
form
you.
up on a little bit.
Yeah. Like,
I'm
you
gonna
should
come
lead
from this
anyway.
angle.
Okay.
Oh,
Just push in, Max. Just push in. Let's go.
Let's try to get across with 2. There's 2 windows. And a little shot.
We're gonna kill this E3.
E3
Copy.
fired.
Or we're gonna
fired.
drive past the E3.
Warbender.
You know, just fuck him.
You two kill him, I will drive past.
Yeah. There, I tracked
Rocks
you.
down 1.
He had 2
Back up
rips.
to that, is it?
Where's this mouse looking? Where's Warbender looking, please?
Us.
Okay.
I'm
reloading.
Do you have ammo?
No, I'm
That's
reloading.
not
I
you,
tried to
that's
track
me.
him.
Oh, he doesn't have much to
There's
turn.
three
Shot.
tanks after us.
Rocks is down 3.
Mako's fired.
Rocks is
Okay,
one
I
shot.
got
Rocks
17.
has 1 round.
Try to drive out, CJ.
Yeah,
Can we
trying.
go get these guys? Mouse?
Jesus.
Just mouse. Can you just drive in? There's only 2 of them.
All right, Zach, lead it. The E3 just shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their 50B is on
clicking.
reload right now. He'll be loaded soon.
He's looking at you, looking at you. They're all looking at you.
Oh.
50B's a one shot. He's gonna be poking. I'm gonna reload in 25 and I'll get him.
You know what? Fuck
Just
this.
stay-
I'm gonna go kill their 50B.
Mouse just shot.
Rock's
Track
fired at least
D3,
one.
track D3. You repaired?
Bounce.
Commodore
Hey, keep
fired.
the angle. Knight, stay down there. I'm
Yeah,
done
yeah.
in 10 and I'll dump
E3
the
shot.
Warbander.
E3 shot. E3's one shot.
I'll dump
Yeah,
the
focus on
Warbander.
Warbander.
One shot Warbander.
Mouse fired.
I'll have
okay.
Warbender.
We're good.
Push in the cam next.
And, well, if at the end of that battle, Rival looks like they're on top of it as well. Only Commodore remains, and all 3 Mouse from Rival are still up. Flak might be about to go down. Yes, he will finally, but a little bit late on that one. And I got to give it to Rival. They've taken apart 07 on Himmelsdorf with expert precision.
07 had an idea how to stop it. They tried bringing some E3s, a couple mouses of their own, and that is not how you stop the moving wall of 9,600 HP.
Yeah, the focus wasn't, and there wasn't enough focus or just something. It just did not work out. You could see the split of 07's tanks as one tank decides to go try and take on J-Smooth, one tries to go take on another, but what?
I will say there was a little bit of misplay in there.
The Andy Pans lost,
Well,
losing a
Andy
tier 10.
Pans, there was that one. And then also killing that E3. The 2 bat chats against a E3 point blank weren't able to kill him, even though they had 4,000 HP in their 2 clips.
Got to give it to both of those bats, though. They managed to
keep him out of the fight.
And also managed to win in the end.
Yeah, they drew some guns there.
Yeah.
And they managed to open the window for the mices on the other side. You still like to see them get in there and take that gun down, because that has to be at least 3 shots missed out of 10, essentially, at point blank range, which I personally is kind of borderline for me.
Yeah, and so let's take a look actually at the post-game stats, because I think we need to point out how much the Mouse is winning today. The Mouse is the top tank. All 5 top tanks, damage dealers, are Mouse. So you've got Flak, Zakum, players that are known for playing heavies well. Same with Commodore, Warbender, and now Unknown One. I didn't realize Unknown would be one of those.
He's always been one of the IS-7 player, heavy tank player, IS-3s, a lot of those. So over the years, he's always been a competent heavy tank player, and can just step into the Mouse and play it quite well. But 72 fantasy points out of Zakum. He's always been a great heavy tank player, so I'd love to see him putting up some numbers tonight. And then both the E3s getting caught out, doing relatively little damage. Point blank versus the Mouses shooting up into the turret, especially when they're slightly angled, just not enough pen to get through it.
You'll have noted, if you were paying enough attention last battle, you'll have seen that the Mouse approach hit right where the E3s were not. And so they weren't able to be relevant against the tanks they were supposed to counter. Because that's what the E3 is there for. It's supposed to deal enough damage that at least something is able to chunk down a Mouse that you can focus it out.
Yep.
Otherwise, between the 50Bs, other Mouse, and everything else on the battlefield, you're not actually going to take down the Mouse very quickly. And so between 3 of them, they can shuffle and make sure that they stay safe with each other.
Yep. So speaking of the Mouses and all the new changes, we have a couple more answers to the question of the day.
Fantastic.
So let's go ahead and see what's up with them.
All right, we've got SRS Eventi 1.
70.
71. That makes so much more sense. Probably 20k plus HP. Yeah,
We saw almost that last game, just between 3 tanks.
And Pompous, of course, thank you. He thinks it's going to be amazing to watch. Truly a spectacle.
Well, and he, as a tank destroyer player, probably his mouth is watering right now at all the HP he gets to farm.
Oh, pub battles have to be so much fun for him.
The S tank just click, click, click.
Oh yeah, just look at things and destroy them. Although the Mouse's front armor is enough that he probably has to pay attention now.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. So we are ready for our next map. So let's go ahead and see what's happening.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
All right, Rox, he's already laughing.
And this isn't a lie. We got 2 Conqueror gun carriages. as well as 2 Mouses, a Bat Chat, a TVP, and 2 Tier 9 Bat Chats. Meanwhile, Rival and IS-7, 2 Bat Chats, a TVP, and 2 T10s.
Okay, well, that's...
I said earlier, something to look to see happen is the more arty. We'd already seen it a lot this season, especially compared to seasons past. And now we are seeing Tier 10 artillery become commonplace.
And also, look at the T10s coming out. Unknown One Zakum sporting those. I was wondering if we were going to see a 252 at all as a Tier 8 choice, right?
Yeah,
but
well, it'll
maybe
be in
not
the,
this time.
It'll be in the premium shop starting tomorrow,
Oh.
and that looks like it's going to be a great tank for strongholds as well.
Yeah, everyone's going to have to check that one out. It's pretty much as armored a Tier 8 as you can hope for.
Well, its lower front plate is better than an IS-7 to give you guys an idea.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Tesla going to the hill, and she will not have to worry about beating those Mouses there. We'll have to worry about the Bat Chats, but those Mouses going to take a while to get there.
Oh, yeah, and I think this, although Makos is going to make his way up there, Tesla's got shots out. Fosta might take one as a toll, but no, that one's going to sail right over. And, well, Rival's going to control the hill as their heavies are going to get their
Executus is lit right now.
Oh, Unknown's going to pay with almost all of his hit points just to get up to the hill. Warbender, one more shot. Not going to need it. Well, someone else on the hill, Makos, is going to take it down.
Arclet and his Conqueror is loaded right now. Right as they all cross, he's looking for a shot. He's going to
Who's it going
hesitate.
for? Tesla or Zakum, one of those two would be a perfect target.
Nope, he's going to hesitate.
And, well, I didn't see a shot go anywhere. Rox, did he fire?
No, he's still holding that shell, waiting for a good shot.
Counter-artying?
He's now looking for the counter shot, but he's looking in the wrong spot right now. He's just going to fire it off. He splashes him.
Although Arclet gets spotted, and he's going to take damage, losing almost all of his hit points on 32. But he's an artillery piece, and that's what they do. And now Flax in the high ground, nice controlling position, and he can punish rocks. 07 right now also, to note, their hit points, they have more than Rival, but they are down 2 tanks to the 1 tank that has been lost.
And the Mouses are going to go with one of the slowest offenses ever and push the hill, try to bully this IS-7 and TVP off. They do have to worry about the artillery, ready to shoot at them, though.
Oh, yeah. And Knight's going to be reloaded in
20 seconds.
A little bit, but not quite yet.
Which, by the time the Mouses get around, they'll probably be loaded, so not too big a worry there. And especially on mines, a map that's so small that the shell travel time out of any artillery is very quick, so they should be able to be pretty effective, especially if they can hit one of the softer spots. Meanwhile, Commander J does take down Warbander.
Oh, this counterplay, you're just using the fact that the Mouse are so slow to just take advantage, and right when they've positioned themselves in an inconvenient spot,
they're going to find Andy Pants. Andy Pants does take down Zakum, but Tesla cleans him up.
I think that's a worthy trade, and Commander J is going to be able to escape into the low ground to start going after Arclet.
Shot out from the artillery, 533.
Nicely played. And Commander J should be able to find Arclet. Is Arclet going to be ready with TD mode? I think he is.
And despite having 2 less tanks, they still have more HP than Rival.
Yep. 4,825 between 2 Mouse against a IS-7, a Bat Chat, another Bat Chat, now not a Conqueror GC. Or no, he's alive. Never mind. Excuse the glitches. That is so confusing. That is... What is going on?
Randall showing everyone how to spectate dirt.
Look, I tried to jump to a tank. It decided that the tank was dirt. That's what happens.
Rocks.
I guess it's a very, it's really deep for the mods to try to communicate to us that, at the end of all this, we just return to dust. It's like, wow, mods, way to make it real. Okay. And now, well, 2 tanks left. Executus has made the jump, by the way.
He's going to be a mountain goat, might be able to find some angles onto these Mouses. And once again, this is the same thing. Look at how they're playing this right now. They're opening up new angles. They're pushing around out wide. They're making his Mouse's speed work against them. So this is what I was talking about before when we started the show. Is it's not so much the fact that the Mouses are going to be here. We already know that. We're going to see them as well as Type 5s. It's what teams do, what they adjust to deal with them. And so far, Rival is putting on a clinic on how to both use them and take advantage of them.
Yeah, and this is huge for Rival. This is terrible for 07. Because the thing is, 07 needs to hold on to their position. They need to hold on to their position in the standings over Valence.
As every single one of these games goes by, Valence's mouth is watering. They are seeing the opportunity right now. It was not there a little bit ago, and now all of a sudden, maybe snagging a place into the playoffs, starting to become more and more a possibility for Valence.
It is, and well, just give it a moment. Commodore should not last much longer. He will go down. That's going to be 3 in a row for Rival to start the series.
Rival are 2 rounds away from getting their first win on the season.
And what a place to do it. What a day to do it, of course, and what tanks to do it with. I want to note something. There were no mouse brought by Rival in this battle. The mouse were all chosen by 07, and the tanks that were chosen by Rival were just common, normal, meta, nothing's different kind of tanks. And I really enjoyed seeing this because, yeah, you were right. You said it. It's a clinic on how to deal with heavier lineups. Very easily, we could have seen Rival get a little, antsy, a little afraid on going to the hill.
To be fair, Rival have struggled to adapt all season.
Yes.
And right now, if they'd been doing this the whole season and doing this sort of logic, breaking things down and just thinking things methodically through like they're doing right now, they would not be in the position they're in.
Well, and this, I think I might have an answer for us. Oh, never
We'll get
mind.
to that in a second. Flag.
What?
Look at that in the IS-7. IS-7 saying, Mouse, what's that? I'm just going to do 4,000 damage and get 80 fantasy points.
And not miss a single shell. Not bounce a single shell. And also block about 1,200 in damage as well. I'm noticing the mouse damage blocked by armor was much lower than it's been. So indicating, and also evidenced by the battle we just saw, the mouse were unable to position themselves like we saw in Himmelsdorf. On Himmelsdorf, the rival mouse, the three Musketeers, as it were, they were able to utilize their armor to mitigate a lot of that damage.
Yeah.
In this case, 07 wasn't able to do that.
Well,
And
the
so
thing you have to remember is armor, you have to look at how it's angled. And it's not just being angled side to side, how you angle your turret. It's also changes up and down. So when you close distance, and especially on a tank like an E3 that has a lower center of gravity, where the gun is just lower, it has to shoot up into the armor. It changes the angle and the effective values that mouse has. So this is where we might see a tank such as like a 215B, something that's higher mounted, or an E100, may make more sense because when they're point blank versus those E100s, they're going to have an easier shot to pen, less angles to worry about.
Absolutely. So now we're getting ready to go into the next battle for mines. I'm making sure that my mods and stuff are all in order. And well, if we see that same kind of mouse strat from 07, I really think they need to take more time, put a little bit more consideration into how they're doing things, because we saw that bully strat. We saw that attempt to try and just be aggressive. And it didn't work out because they kept placing themselves a little bit too far ahead. And
so here's a live look at the tank picking. We'll see the tanks be readied up here momentarily.
There are 40 seconds, now 30, on the countdown for the players to ready their tanks up. And I apologize to my production. I queued them a little earlier than normal, but we do get the opportunity to see how tank picking works with that 60-second countdown.
20 seconds left.
Yep. And
STRV. And so a mouse and a Type 5 brought for 07. Well, Rival going with a more traditional lineup for the second time. Now, I thought this is another tank we'd see a good bit more of. The Type 57 has those heat shells. I've said it in days past. Heat shells are great when you're playing against flat German armor, especially in the case of a mouse, or even the Type 5. And the Type 5's armor did get buffed as well, so you need to go and look at those 3D models to figure out how to pen those from the front.
Yeah, and notice Arclet brought an M4043. Against the lineup we're seeing out of Rival, this is an effective tank. Hit one of the bat chats, he's going to get completely destroyed. No Commodore in that Type 5 heavy as well against a bat chat lineup.
Yep. And I do think that the Conqueror GC was maybe the wrong artillery pick, especially for a Tier 10. I think either the Tier 9 bat or Tier 10 bat chat already, or the Russian 261. Higher rate of fire, get something that can get out there and deal more, because with the amount of time we have, only 10 minutes as opposed to a 15-minute battle in Clan Wars or something, and the long reload of the Conqueror.
You need to think about how much damage you're going to be able to put out in 10 minutes,
yep.
Not how much can I put out given an infinite amount of time with all the shells I can put out. You're going to want to put out 3 or 4 shells in the first few minutes.
And also just the small team size with 7-on-7. So with that 261 having the much quicker reload, the higher rate of fire, it may be more important.
And look at this opening move. Commander J is going to blitz out into the one line, followed up by Tesla and Executus, each of them taking 1 shell apiece to pay the toll. Not bad, not bad. And it will put Rival behind a few thousand hit points, but not anymore. Or
Mako's
maybe
taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Mako's 818.
1200. And Arclet
is down.
Dead. That's an artillery gun, taking the very aggressive position, trying to find an angle onto that 2-cap. That's one of the problems we see with artillery. Meanwhile, Makos, I'll get that in a second, 347, and he goes down, and that's 2 tanks down for 07. Where has this rival been all season?
I had no idea. And now look at this. 6 seconds left on cap, according to the timer. But
At 07, they don't have anyone in position to get the reset.
actually, hold on for 1 second there, Rox. I'm not sure that everything's operating as it should be.
Nope, that's it.
That's
That's
it?
game.
That's it?
done.
Really? My game was broken.
And Rival are now on match point, already have secured their 2nd point on the season. Only took 14 match days.
Okay, that works. I'm trying to see now who was getting all those cap points. Where were those? Because I saw one of the T10s on cap, and then
Well, looking at it,
yeah,
so
base capture points
IS-7,
from Unknown
Flak.
and Zakum.
all the heavy tanks, 36, 36, 37.
Oh, okay.
Or 31, excuse me.
I was a little confused by that one.
And that was great heads-up play by Rival. Pushed the Batchats down there. They got them down there for relatively close to free. They had their guns on that bottom corner. 3 heavy tanks on cap right away. Get the cap pressure going. Have the Batchats in position to punish anyone trying to get the resets. And they took the cap out.
And wow, I don't know what's going on, Rockstar. I don't know.
I think the way you described it last match day is perfect. Mousapalooza.
Mousapalooza. That's all it is. Just mouse all day, every day. But Rival changing things up, I like it. They dropped some of the mouse. They're going for things that deliberately counter it and deliberately don't get bullied around by mouse. Things that can run away. Things that are going to get into positions where mouse isn't even relevant for another 2 or 3 minutes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing, and I want to get back to this real quick. Once again, earlier I mentioned, we don't need to focus so much on the mouse. We need to focus on how teams deal with the mouse. This sort of pressure, this sort of making Rival work the clock, that's exactly what they did. The mouse is slow. It takes a while to respond. So when you have a couple of those tanks, and even the Type 5, also slow, also a barn, that's 2 tanks off the field, plus the artillery. That's 3 tanks essentially off the field for a short amount of time. And with already going down, not just being reloaded, or needed to reload.
Yeah.
That's 4 tanks left alive. So all of a sudden, that's up to 4 tanks to find a way to deal with that cap. And in this case, they didn't.
Yeah, they don't have the tools at their disposal. They don't have the flexibility to get into positions where they can hull down against cap and wait it out. They're big tanks. They're exposed. If they want to get into the same positions that we've seen many other more nimble tanks move around into, they're going to have trouble, which is why that we'll see a lot of mouse today, and we'll see it backfire here and there. And we're seeing some of that with 07. They're letting the mouse kind of backfire on them. And it just goes to show what a lot of experience will do for you. It looks
like we're going to have to reboot the training room here.
Yeah, it looks like some new glitches with the new patch. These happen all the time, and of course, training rooms are one of the hardest things to test. So often enough, 1 or 2 will slip through. And
so meanwhile, we have some answers to question of the day. I'm concerned about the armor buffs. We'll see how they change things. So
I think that's definitely something to kind of look at, especially when it comes to the mouse.
Yep. And once again, I'm going to say it again. It's not so much how what the mouses themselves do, it's how people deal with them and what they kind of change, what new lineups we see brought. And so far, Rival showing mouse isn't so special, and they're showing exactly ways around it. And now what'll probably happen is a little bit down the road, we'll start seeing teams try to figure out how to really use that mouse other than just bringing it and just throwing it at the other team. How can we finesse this into a lineup and really make its strong points be effective?
Yeah, and well, that's going to be the big question. To give you guys a little bit of an update right now, it appears as though we're going to have a short bit of downtime as we're going to have to possibly transfer training rooms or something of the like, and we'll see how that goes. So, Rockstar, in the meantime, please exit the training room.
Oh, absolutely.
And we'll be looking for invites to go out, and we'll get back into this in just a moment. Please excuse the short disruption.
While we wait, let's talk about some of the other changes that come with this patch that we either haven't talked about or people that haven't read the patch notes seen. Because there's a couple other ones in there that I found pretty fascinating. First one we haven't really talked about, the grill. Has a gun dispersion nerf, so it won't be as accurate. And they also had a mobility nerf, so it will not be able to get around as quick, won't have that medium tank speed to it. So trying to balance it, make it roughly the same as some of the other mediums, or tank destroyers. It
Yeah.
kind of feels like a medium sometimes.
Well, that's what it played at. It played at the second line, the back line medium. While you sent your bat chats forward and you were trying to get them to make an engagement happen at closer range, you'd bring a grill along to follow. And that would happen on Prohorovka, for example, a lot of other maps where they were rather open and you could move and you could use that mobility to your advantage.
Yep.
Also, being a turreted TD and being rear mounted, that actually opens up a lot of options for you as far as very much more micro play as opposed to macro stuff. The way you can position off a building or off a certain terrain with a grill is something that you can't do with a Foch, with an E3, with an E4, with a Yagzilla. All of these
Absolutely.
tank destroyers that are at tier 10 don't have those same options a grill did. And so nerfing it puts it a lot more in line with the rest of the TDs, which kind of the big thing about TDs is they have big guns, usually have good armor, but they're not super flexible. They're not highly mobile most of the time, and that's their con. But the grill didn't have that as much, and that's why it showed up so very often.
Yeah, and then the other big change, the speed buff to the American tank destroyers, the T-28, T-28 prototype, and the T-95 all got speed buffs. I believe the top speed on the T-95, the Doom Turtle, got raised to 20 kilometers an hour now.
You know what? With all these new tanks coming out, I feel like I want to show the audience something that we haven't seen in a long time. And so while we wait for everything to get put back in order and for this match to continue, let's take a look at what Big Dave has for sale.
Howdy folks, I'm Big Dave. And when I'm not wrangling cattle, I'm right here wrangling you new deals. Now this here is a 2007 Ford Mustang, less than 100,000 miles, full leather interior, a CD player, and air conditioning. Hoo-wee! Now how about this 2005 Nissan Quest? You're on a quest for a new car. Why not this family-sized van, new paint job, new transmission, and it seats 7. Maybe not in store for something for the family? Well, I got something for you. How about this tank? Hooey! That there's 60,000 pounds of American-made steel. Now, I can't tell you what war she was in, because that's confidential. But what I can tell you is that she can get 3/4 of a mile to the gallon, and she's great for off-roading. Now, some of you may be thinking, Big Dave, what am I gonna do with the tank? Well, I say, partner, the better question is, what won't you do with the tank? Here at Big Dave's, we don't camouflage our prices. Our savings are out in the open. Cool! Now, this may be something one of our competitors may try to pass off to you. Not here at Big Dave's. Here at Big Dave's, we crush the competition. We're winning the war on savings. So come on down to Big Dave's Used Car Ranch. Take the North 101, exit 48, take a left on Main, and don't stop till you see the giant tank. Cool!
Welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed that. I certainly did. That was Joshua Gray as Big Dave.
Cool. Can't do it.
Cool. His Texan accent is of course phenomenal, spot on, of course.
Oh yeah. I always love that commercial.
It's so fun. And then the thing is, you can actually buy a tank here or there. There are tank museums that have been occasionally needing to get rid of some equipment.
Up the 5 freeway in California, up by Merced, there's just a random AMX 13 something. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's 75, just sitting off the freeway with the American flag sticking out the gun barrel. And why a French tank with American flag? I don't know.
Well, there was a brief period of time where it was popular amongst a number of nations, and so they were always sold around. So I can understand where one of them would find its way to America and then become some kind of like a monument to maybe some coalition movement or something, you know.
Yeah,
but
I know a lot of smaller countries like the AMX tanks. So that you can see them around. They get restored pretty commonly, and I know some people actually use them for off-roading competitions as well.
Yeah, I've seen that here and there as well. There's a Hellcat. You could buy one for about 100K at one point. Hey,
got an extra 100 grand
brand
sitting
new
around.
car,
Why not?
Brand new amazing car because you make tons of money, or buy a tank. Now, it looks like we're about to get back into the series. Thank you all for your patience. I really appreciate it. Let's get back into battle number 5.
Runeberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the centre square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village when playing a heavy setup. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
All right, Rockstar, take a look at these.
And you guys do not need to go to an eye doctor. It is 4-0 in favor of rival Simple Tankers right now. They are one round away from their first win all season.
Yeah, for a moment, it takes a minute to hit you, Rox, that a team like Rival, who everyone's been ragging on, who everyone's been saying doesn't have what it takes, is going 4-0 right now against 07. A team which, this doesn't happen. I can get it. I can understand you have a good day and you do really well, and maybe as Rival you'd expect, okay, maybe they'll get 2, maybe 3 wins off of 07, right?
Yep.
But no. That's not the case today.
No, they are up there here to take it. They are ready to play despite already being relegated. Lineups come in as follows. 07, a Mouse, a 215B, a 113, 2 AMX-50Bs, an STRV 103B, and a T-54 lightweight. Meanwhile, rival Simple Tankers, 3 113s, 3 Batchats, and a T-54 lightweight, and this Batchat squad is screaming toward the 0 line right now.
Yeah, and the 113s from Rival have made it up the center road without taking all that much damage.
Looks like 1 shot apiece.
Just about. It's a very light toll. And, well, now you've got Rival in control in a place that they never get this far. Every time Rival pushes like this, they get shut down immediately. But 07 doesn't do that to
They're going for the brawl. The 113s are leaving the cap. They are going for those heavy tanks. And remember, this is Runeberg. This is one of the most defensively sided maps we have in the league. And Rival are attacking right now, and they are sitting here just chewing through tanks as quickly as they can. Tesla's taking a lot of damage, Zakum's taking a lot of damage, and Flak's taking a lot of damage as well. And this looks like 07 finally putting a point up on the board.
Oh, but yeah, you're right. Actually, it's over. It's hard to tell with the hit points. Understandably, we're having some glitches today, but Rival will finally flop on their attack. 07 managing to hold rather well, staying strong, and not taking much damage at all, actually. Well played. Well played.
Managed to hold on there. The Mouse even got into the fight. And they are going to clean it up, and that's going to make it 4-1.
All right, this is where it turns around. And 07, if they come back, the most they can do is win in a tiebreaker now. So they can win, get 2 points, and those 2 points will mean, actually that's not bad for them. They can still secure their position, hold where they are, and that'll mean Rival might pick up a point today. At the very least, Rival's going to walk away with 1 point, which is 100% more points than they had, doubling their points on the standings.
Don't know whether to be impressed or slightly saddened by that.
Doubling their points. They could even go beyond that and triple their points.
And looking
today.
at the fantasy points here as well as the damage, 4 players from 07 all doing about 55 fantasy points. Mako's at 58. And then top player for Rival is Knight coming in there. And the T-54 lightweight doing 1,400 damage. Fosta right on his tail, and then the whole rest of Rival Simple Tankers is going to be found on the second page because they got shut down pretty early. They got into a good position fairly early on, but the crossfire was just way too strong from 07. They focused their fire, they knocked down tanks quickly. We watched those 113s pretty much get evaporated.
All right, and let's take a moment to look at some of the questions of the day that you guys have been tweeting at us at WGLNA using hashtag WGLNA. We have Olin Lego. I feel there will be more German heavies and Type 5 heavies. Well, he's right to a point. We've already seen a lot of heavies. 3 Mouse from Rival, highly effective. We've seen some Type 5 play that was surprising. And Fulcrus says that the Mouse will be great again. It's been a long time since the Mouse has been considered a truly dangerous tank. The kind of tank where you really do need to sit back for a second and say, whoa. You don't just drive in against that and take it down.
We've already seen more Type 5s today than we have all season because we had never seen one before today. So
yeah, they literally weren't picked. So now that we're seeing them, this does say something about what they could mean for for teams going forward, and it'll be slower.
Now,
it'll be a lot derpier in a way.
The other thing to remember, as we just said, the Ruinberg is one of the most defensively sided maps that we have, and now it's going to be Rival with a chance to defend and close this out 5-1.
And we'll see. Every single battle up to this point is going to be match point for Rival, so they've got a chance now that they're going to be defending on Ruinberg to finish this one out. Big question is, will they? And will
look
they?
Look at this lineup from Rival. They are really exploiting the map. They're trying to exploit the heavy tanks, and they're bringing 250Bs, 2 Batchats, an E3, and 2 5100s. So going with a lot of French autoloaders, a lot of mobility, and a lot of flexibility. Meanwhile, 07, 2 IS-7s, 2 Mouses, 1 Tier 10 Batchat, and 2 Tier 9s.
Okay, 2 Tier 9s, that's okay. They're dangerous enough. The 100 mil is actually, I think, underrated many times. Damage is just right, though, to be slightly underwhelming against Tier 10s, especially Mouse.
Yeah, well, it depends on which gun they are bringing. If they're bringing the 120 or the 100.
On the APs. I was talking.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the 120.
No. I wouldn't bring the 100 mil on a 120. It's a nice idea, but it doesn't benefit enough from being a 120 with that 100 mil.
I thought you were onto something there that I wasn't for a second.
There was a time when you could bring a 100 mil on the Batchat and it could be a viable choice, but that was more along the lines of when you needed that fast reload for stuff like mines.
If you want to talk about metas like that, what you do is you go back to old school mines back in the day at 742. Teams would bring 1390s, but then with the 75mm on there just so they'd be loaded when the Brawl on the Hill started.
And look at this. This is an autoloader setup that indicates Rival is expecting a north push, but that's not the case, as it looks like Arclet, Warbender are going to be spotted in the south, and the 50 hit squad, I'm wondering what they're going to be doing.
What I expect to see is that they're going to give up field. They're going to leave the E3 in the middle, use the Batchats deep on the 0 to cover him, and we're going to watch this hit squad of French heavy tanks roll through the town, get in behind the mice, and open up from the field side and try to cover, push the rest of the tanks from 07 in towards that middle area, maybe down into the north field, and try to box them in.
Yeah, and that worries me, because I don't know if Rival's going to be able to execute on this in enough time. And, well, as we can see now, the Mouse finally reached their first corner, and J-Smooth, Tesla, Flak are all just now getting into position. They round the corner, out in the open, shots fired, no connections yet, and J-Smooth's playing this risky, really risky.
He's just driving into the danger zone. He's going to close, get alongside the Mouses, and completely negate that armor, but he's going to take almost 1,500 damage for his trouble.
Yeah, and I don't know if he'll last much longer. Commodore is going to need to put one more
He's
shell.
trying to get behind Tesla, and she's driving away. And they finally kill him. He ducks into the cubby here, and now a known one's going to drive in there and draw the fire. And they're trying to focus out Commodore, the last Mouse left in this middle road.
But they're paying in a lot of hit points, and as you can note right now, the rest of the tanks from 07 are taking the east side town, and they might be able to come back as far as damage in a moment.
Jason's finally loaded. He's going to unload on this lower plate. Commodore trying to angle his armor as best he can. He takes 2,800. One more shot. He's going to go down. And Rival are right in this right now with 07.
And there's a lot of very delicate tanks left alive for Rival. 07's got their IS-7 still healthy, full health even. And if they play things right, there's a chance for 07 to still salvage this battle and stay in the series. Otherwise, if they lose focus, if they can't get the kills, they're going to be taken apart by Rival over time.
Yep, and they have 07, that is, have 2 IS-7s, the Tier 9 Batchat of Andy Pants here flexing up the 0 line, as well as the Tier 10 Batchat who's going to be right on his tail and most likely join him here in a second. And they're going to work the angles on Executus, who's stuck in that town, and Knight will also be caught out in the open if he's not careful.
And here's shots fired. Andy Pants has found Executus. 1 shell, 2 shells, 1 more will do it. And finds the kill. Andy Pan's managing to pick up Executus, leaving only the 50Bs, Tesla, Unknown, Flak, well, 5120s, and Knight, who sits at full health, not anymore, in his E3. Now, if Knight can play his stuff right, he'll be okay. If he can get this connection to Andy Pans, that will be huge. And yes, he gets it. All right, this could be it. Rival might be about to close out the series. They might be about to get their first really decisive win.
They need to
the season.
They need to get Makos down. Makos is the key here. He's the flexibility and the key that could open this up for 07. Maybe get in somewhere aside Knight and take him down. So it's going to be up to him and Flack to kind of win out this duel up here in the north. And whoever wins this will likely win the round.
All right, and here Makos is moving around, similar position to where we saw Andy Pans earlier. He finds a shot, and he's got some side flank shots there, but it's difficult.
Tesla getting caught out right now.
And actually, his shells aren't connecting. They might even be connecting with
a corpse sitting somewhere around he can't see.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. And, well, Makos is going to waste most of his clip in a desperate attempt to try and get the hits, but there's no confirmation for 07.
Well, and look at this. Flack knows that he was firing. He knows that Makos is on reload because he's just closing the distance right now. He's spotted. These I-7s might shoot him. He's going to back up.
There we
he
go.
takes a shot. He's hoping to get in there and take out the Bat Chat. He's going to find a shot onto Warbander. 446, 1100 from the tank in the middle, and he might find the kill shot. No, Arclit! Arclit out of nowhere, unspotted, gets the kill shot onto him, and they tie this up 3-3. HP is still slightly in favor of 07, but a majority of that is onto Arclit right now.
Yep, and now Tesla is spotted. Makos in a great position to counter out the 50B once she gets spotted one more time. I'm worried about Knight. Knight could deal serious damage. He could be the game changer. If he gets one hit into Makos, if he gets one hit into Warbander, actually, he won't even get a chance. It looks like Arclit's going to start moving forward, slowly but surely, to find targets, get the kills. And he's spotted, but Knight and Unknown One are as well. And that's going to mean cover fire coming in from the backfield. That's Makos making those connections. And there we go, 404. One more will take down Knight. And that's it. That's
Great shooting from Makos from range there. He's able to get the kill.
And this is the teamwork we're looking for. This is how 07 can bring themselves back in.
Arclit has full HP. He can drive in here without a care in the world. He finds the quick snap onto Unknown One.
3 shells hit Unknown One simultaneously. That's efficiency. And now Tesla, all alone, is going to go down. And that's going to be 07 putting 2 points on the board.
Ruinberg still a mystery to rival. They've looked good on the previous 2 maps, but didn't quite have the answers here.
And yeah, I think the mistake there from Rival was continuing to push a little too much when they found the mouse out. I think grouping up, focus firing would have been effective, but also there's something to note, and it's that Rival recognized that getting in close gives them the opportunity to deal with the mouse's armor. Otherwise, those mouse can simply angle themselves, stick themselves in the right spot, and the 50Bs are all completely useless, right?
It's really, the thing is angling your armor is really only effective from one direction. So what Rival are essentially doing in simple terms is they're just trying to open up more angles onto that mouse, create a crossfire, because then that essentially just neutralizes the armor either to one tank or both of them, depending on how the player in the middle decides to play.
Yeah, and I think Rival should have made some adjustments to the way they approach that situation, because you notice how much damage they took. 50Bs and 120s aren't meant to take quite that much. And the effectiveness of those tanks. Let's take a look at that. We saw J Smooth and his 50B he ran out first and got killed quickly, but wasn't able to deal that much damage. A lot of his shells bounced. They were ineffective.
He got a couple shots off there onto the side, but he also was firing on the move at full speed, shooting at a mouse.
But the thing about an autoloader is you can't do that and expect to keep the results you're looking for. If he'd connected a few more shells and those mouse had gone down a little sooner, that gives Rival time, even if they take damage after that point, to back off, reposition, redeploy those 50Bs and 120s in a more spread situation, in a more spread out, kind of layout, because they're all stuck on one lane where they can fire at all of the same tanks that any of their other 50Bs can, but they can't cover each other. They can't punish other tanks for exposing themselves to one of your other 50Bs or allies. They were simply stuck where they were and pinned. There were no advantages to the position they had.
Absolutely, and from that point on, the game just kind of drew out from there because, like I said, 07, they had the flexibility in those bat chats, and they were in a place where they had the ability to flex around. They weren't pinned like Rival were, and so they just exploited that. Now, Flack may have been lucky and found out Makos, but then the I-7 spotted him, and there was great cover fire there.
I think I can look at what 07 did as a reaction to what Rival pulled and say that 07 read the situation appropriately and made a conscious and the right decision to adjust. It's always really tricky because we can start taking apart like the strategies and the decisions and look at the mistakes, but you can also just look at what 07 saw and what they decided to do based off of that information,
Mhm.
and how did it work out. Because there's so many little variables that we can try and read into, but take a step back and just go, you know what? 07 made the right call.
Yep.
Their tanks were in the right spots.
Well, let's go ahead and take a step back and see what our next map is.
Steps, the most open map in the league. The attacking team appears near the rocks at the bottom of the map, and the defending team starts at the top. Bases are located near the railway and on the green. The best way to control them is to use the lowland near the second base. The attacking team usually begins the attack from the rocks and the railway, but sometimes they can attack through the green. Teams often drag vehicles from flank to flank, so both teams usually pick light vehicles with a good camouflage rating, but sometimes use tanks with a strong turret and even SPGs.
And for the first time all night, we will not be seeing a mouse. Instead, we'll see an IS-7, 4 bat jets, an STRV-103B, and a UDIS 407. Rival, on the other hand, is an IS-7, 4 bat jets, an Object 140, and an RU-251.
All right, so nothing that's changed this patch at all, right? These are all the tanks left untouched by the latest update.
Yep, exactly. And looking at this, the double Swedish tank destroyer setup for 07. What do you make of that? Well, they have to attack right now.
I
on
think
steps.
that's not necessarily too bad, because what you can do is you can kind of bound your Swedish tanks. You can put one in one position, and if they recognize he's there, and that he's unassailable, you move the other up.
Yep.
And then once he's established, you can move up as well. Between the two of you, you can kind of inch forward, and I'm willing to bet that we'll see the one cap pressured.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's my main thought is they'll
Yeah.
use the UDIS as the cap pressure and then use Arclit, where we saw a lot of grills played previously, along the ridge at E2, E3.
Yeah, something along those lines. It indicates 07's interest towards the west side. And I think what I'm going to have to wait for and see what has the biggest impact is what Rival does. Because look at the way they're moving. A lot of tanks heading to the south right now. And if Rival can catch something out early on, kind of make this a 6-on-6 or a 5-on-5, I think they do a lot better, because those S-tanks aren't nearly as flexible. And if you get one of those out, maybe even a bat chat or two, that makes it so much harder to attack the cap, right?
Yeah.
You need numerous forces to attack cap, because you have to screen it, put tanks in front of it between the cap and your opponent.
And when you have tanks on cap, those are guns out of the fight and HP not in the fight as well, so that's essentially handicapping yourself.
Yeah, because you have to decide whether or not it's worth it to fire and expose your tank, or hold off and maybe...
And we've had that conversation earlier in the season about how many tanks is effective cap pressure in different situations. You think sometimes in certain situations you say that 2's just right. I'm more of a fan of, if you're going to go for a... that you have to play it one of two ways. You have to go, all right, well, our main focus here is just the cap pressure, at which point just one tank on cap, or if you do multiple, have them ready to drive off, or at least a couple drive off and get into the fight. Or you need to say, we are going for the cap. That's not a question. We are trying to get the cap out by running the screen properly and just throw 3 onto it.
In a perfect world, my favorite thing to do with a cap, or to see done with a cap, is where you fake out your opponent, put one tank on cap, and have a distraction where your opponent is then thinking, oh, there's just one tank on cap, we can wait a minute to deal with this, and then we can stop the cap. And then all of a sudden throwing 2 tanks additionally on cap, right when your opponent is most distracted.
And Bat Chat's exchanging shots. Sorry to cut you off here.
No, go.
Andy Pan's exchanging shots with Tesla. Both of them landing 2 shots onto each other. And now this S-Tank's going to come in here and start playing this ridge, get into siege mode, and he should be able to bully out these Bat Chats fairly easily.
And he'll start working on that slowly, as a tank will, that is in siege mode. And he's just going to try and inch up, see what he can see. And there's a lot of tanks spotted from Rival right now. So this is really good for Arclit. He should be able to farm plenty of damage. And he'll find Knight first. And that's a connection for 371. And you can see damage going all over the place. But some of that looks like it's not entirely true. Knight down by 809.
Knight realizing that he can't leave, so he just has to try to do it. But Arclit's just going to take the shot blind and get the kill.
Yep. He lost the auto aim, zipped back to his original firing position, and just clicked and, well...
Yeah, it's good enough right here. He should be around there somewhere.
Congratulations, Gold Star. And now Rival's going to flex to the south. And, well, they know what's coming. They know that the cap pressure is probably going to be something we'll see shortly, and that they'll need to react.
We've barely even seen the UDIS at all this game. It's been so far irrelevant the first 3 minutes.
He got to fire at some tanks that were leaving, I think, but other than that, yeah, he's been irrelevant. And it's going to come down to a lot of bat chat brawling, I think, in a moment. if Unknown One and the rest of Rival decide to push forward. And in fact, let's take a listen in to 07 as they're about to get attacked by Rival.
Yeah, I'm not needed on the boost. I'm full HP.
I need somebody to spot this for me.
I'm spotting right now. There's nothing there.
There you go. You have Commander J here. Who's spotting?
Could be more. Could be more. Andy, why don't you rotate? Yeah.
Nice. I fired one missed. I'm lit.
He's still pushing.
He's pushing. He's pushing.
That means there's more. That means there's more.
Should we bail out? Should we bail out? They're shooting
guys,
the middle.
just get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, that's what we are doing right now. I have 4 in the clip. I'm not clipping.
If we got damage out, it's good.
We got damage for free. They're pushing.
They're pushing.
Right.
Lol. This guy stays safe. I mean, this guy. They're just like pushing into empty space right now. I'm lit.
They're pushing behind us.
Hey, maybe I can go here. Maybe we can trap them here and kill them.
Yeah.
With 4 back.
It's just the 149
They got at least 3. They got at least 3.
Okay, bad idea then.
Executus?
They stopped.
Make us don't get shot.
We're still capping. We're still capping.
They're gonna crush Swipple. They're gonna crush Swipple.
I7.
I7's up. I7's up.
Oh, they're gonna do it because I7 can spot the woods, right?
I'm getting out of
Not
middle.
easily.
I'm getting out of middle.
Guys, we need to kill S7.
He's not gonna spot the woods. If Woods is doing it right. We tested it.
No, I got lit.
140's up. 140's way up.
I'm lit.
Flak 1400.
Alright, I'm fine.
We're good. First to
Flak
600
track.
HP.
They're pushing center road.
Nice kill.
There's stuff center road.
Make us white.
It's okay.
Center.
Arclet, do you want to swing in? Take the ledge here, Arclet, right now?
Okay. Guys, take the ledge. You have to.
They have 140 here in the bat.
Get down low, guys.
That's
get down
what I'm
low.
doing. They're bad. They have a bad like up here.
Guys, we need info on this side. We need info on that side.
I'm going right now. I have 3 shells.
I'm gonna repair my gun.
They just stay down, Cam. Don't. Can we put the Oods back on cap?
Yeah, I'm going.
I got lit here.
Cam just keeps info center road. Swipple, yeah, you're rotating.
Should I rotate back to A line? Because I feel like I'm gonna get wrecked if they just come.
Cam, you gotta keep poking for info for sure.
Is this 140 can escape, right? Can he?
Yeah, he's
no,
gone.
Not really.
They're all gone. You can't chase Swipple.
What?
I'm gonna.
You can't chase. You can't chase.
I can stay with Swipple.
Arclet, you should just stay at this.
Arclet, just stay up here so you can shoot everywhere.
E1 is good, yeah, if you can get it.
I should basically stay on tracks for now and cover.
Will we be able to spot this, Andy, if they push?
Swipple, they're definitely shifting towards you.
I know.
Nothing out here.
Yeah, we don't want to give Swipple up. You can just sit on the ridge here. Just sit on top of the ridge here.
Okay, I'll do that.
They're just gonna YOLO with all they have.
Don't give your side to middle, please.
Yeah.
There's nothing to my right.
You're IS7, dude.
Alright, I'm on
We're 3
minutes.
spotting
everything to my right.
I'm not really spotting, no.
Here's a one-line push right
spotting.
now.
I'm gonna watch middle. I'm gonna watch for anything over here.
Yeah.
Nice,
Can we flex?
That's all
pushing that way. I'm pushing that way.
All of them.
Just shift so you don't get wrecked.
Yeah, just get ready.
I have 1 shell. I got 4 shots into them.
Look at their HP. They're so low.
Cover him.
If he tries boosting, I will cover for sure.
I'm fine. I'm totally safe, guys. I'm fully safe.
I'm gonna die in cap. Son of a bitch.
Clipping now.
You should have flexed.
I know. Look, we can take this fight with Warbander.
230. Let me reclip.
Andy's reclipping. They can't get away from Andy very easily.
We got 2 minutes, guys. We need to slowly start working in. We got 2 minutes.
Swipple's gotta move up. Arclet just,
I'm moving up. I'm moving up.
Pressure.
Cap.
Someone,
cap pressure.
I'm still
Arclet got a cap. Arclet got a cap.
No, I think I should be firing. I7 should get on cap.
Can two get on cap right now?
I'm on cap. I'm gonna clip and get cap on cap.
You can get fucked. Careful, dude.
Yeah, this guy is very.
Everybody can cover me.
Yeah. 2 on cap.
One.
They're gonna come through mid. They might come through mid. Cam, get down in mid.
Cam, jump on. Yep. Cam, jump on.
Jump on cap?
Yeah, jump on cap.
Andy, come here. Andy, we need you here too. Swipple, they're gonna come middle, 100%,
Yeah, they will.
guaranteed.
Arclet, be
I'm coming
careful.
over
Just
here.
try to so they
on
don't
cap,
panic
get on cap,
here, all right? Arclet, turn towards here, all right?
Get ready to rush middle to block them.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
All right.
Cam, you should actually. I have more hit.
And Rival are moments away from being capped out. They need to stall this out for 1.5 more minutes, or a minute and 15 seconds, excuse me. There's 20 seconds on the clock right now. Cap pressure being built. 3 on cap. 18 seconds.
Unknown one goes down. Now Executus getting focused out. And 07 is in a commanding position. I got to give it to Rival. I like what they're going for, but 07 figured it out, and they're playing it tighter, playing it smarter. Only Tesla remains. And that's going to mean this should be able to finish out with cap unless we see Tesla manage to somehow delay to victory, which is, well, at this point, unlikely.
She does have shells.
She does, but whether or not she can get a solid connection onto the cap, if she does, she could actually delay enough to get the win. But
no, not going to happen.
Not going to happen. Tesla took a risk, and so did Rival, hoping they could delay the cap and let Tesla live, but not today. Not today, and that's going to be 07 getting themselves back into the series.
And that's going to make it 4-3. So Rival down to 3 more chances to get their first win of the season. It was looking so good early on, but so far 07 saying, no, not so fast. We're still here. We're not completely dead.
And showing that maybe some of those first battles were a little ill-advised as far as strategies and options go.
Adjusting to the new meta.
Yeah, because notice this. At the beginning of this series, we saw Himmelsdorf and Mines. And what we saw is we saw 07 choosing new buffed mouse and other tanks.
Fantasy points for you, and you, and you, and you. 100 going into Andy Pans, Arclet getting 95, Flack 106, Mako's 37, Executus 70, and so on and so on. Not a whole lot of damage, but a lot of cap pressure.
And not bad at all. I have to give it to Andy Pants. I liked watching him play last time. It was a little bit bold at some points where he was a little maybe over-aggressive, needed to maybe hunger down a little bit more, but he played well. And I like hearing the comms that I'm hearing out of 07 right now. Rox, what do you think of those comms?
A lot of talk, a lot of back and forth. Felt like Fosta was not necessarily in control the whole time.
It didn't seem like he was necessarily intending to be in the driver's seat also.
Yeah. Well, you have a lot of players like Arclet and Warbender. They were all in there contributing to different things. But, you know, Arclet, there was some points I didn't like where Arclet was like, I'm going to go do this, okay? And it was just silence. And so he just kind of went and did it like, all right.
It sounded very much like a new guy on the team that people are trusting, because it didn't sound like 07 was shutting him down or anything like that. They were letting him show the team what he was capable of and trusting him when he decided to make decisions and communicate those.
Yeah, but it's also where that's kind of the moment where you want to see someone like Fosta or someone else on the team go, yeah, go for it. Like, give him the solid answer. Let him do what he wants to do with confidence and make sure the rest of the team understands what he's doing and you're all on the same page. Because when you have that lack of communication, sometimes you end up on different pages and you don't realize it.
Yeah, that certainly. Also to note is that sometimes, you know, you may have set down a strategy, and so what Arclet may have been communicating is completely reasonable and relevant to the rest of his team, and we just weren't a part of that conversation. So just take it with a grain of salt.
Yep.
And the lineup's Rockstar.
Yep, well, 07 needing a point to tie this up right now, bringing 2 mouses on defense, as well as 2 bat jets, a 140, an STRV 103B, and an RU 251. Rival, a Kronwagen, 4 bat jets, a TVP, and an RU 251.
Okay, 2 mouse for 07. I have to wonder if this is going to work out for them, because once they started bringing mouse into previous battles, all of those were losses.
Well, do you remember who pioneered bringing mouses on steps defense?
This would be one of the teams, and
well,
Arclet,
it would have been high voltage Cabalers with when Arclet played for them.
But I don't know if necessarily we can point that as being necessarily derivative here. It depends on how they deploy the mouse, right? Because to me, it seems like the new mouse, you might try and be a little bolder with it, more aggressive because of the armor and its potency that way.
No, people figured out how to negate the mouse doing what it did before, and it looks like, is he getting in a position to boost possibly?
No.
Push someone?
No way.
Well, just this is a push, not necessarily to boost the mouse.
I see what you're talking about, but I think Commodore is just heading south,
yeah,
and it's very easy to read into a lot of what a mouse is intending to do by the mere meters he has traveled.
Yep.
but we'll see.
But anyways, my point is this.
Yes.
With him being one of the original people to kind of have this idea and looking at how they're kind of setting it up right now, and you have to remember, this isn't something we have seen 07 do all season, so I really don't think it's much of a coincidence that we're seeing this strat come out right now with the buff, with Arclit on the team. And the other thing that I wanted to point out was the change to the mouse just makes the strat a bit more viable, not necessarily that they're going to change it. The reason why we stopped seeing it is because teams figured out how to counter it. Get heavy tanks up into the north, work the A5 angle while you work separate angles along the 6-7 line. And when you open up multiple angles like that, you negate the mouse armor. Now that the turret armor's been buffed, it can go one-on-one, especially in hold downs with the turret armor buff and the DPM. It just makes the strat more viable, not necessarily that they need to change it.
Okay. But does it open up more options for what you can do with that mouse? Are you going to do further than
See, that's the thing. In this map, with this setup, I don't really see any other options that you can do with a mouse. That's why I think it's the same strat, just changing around, because it's been buffed, you can just do what you used to do, just better.
Yeah. I'm wondering, actually, think about like the north with the tracks. How well could a mouse hold the track side? Very well. 2 of those. How well would they be able to find the right positions and terrain to block their weak points and really angle up?
But see, the problem you have with that, though, is once again, that comes back to the mouse flexibility issue. If you have the mouse sitting over at A5, he's not getting back to a 2-cap fast cap.
Fair enough. He's going to be out of position.
So, and that's one of the things that I've been saying all along, is that's something we have to pay attention to, is speed, flexibility, and how teams open up maps to abuse it.
Sorry to jump to a different subject. Look at where Fosta is right now in that RU251. We've only seen this position used, I think, once in my recent memory. And it was, Deja Vu Dare with an IS-7.
Yeah.
And putting a scout in a forward position like that is a little risky at times. But if it pays off, especially with the mouse that you've brought, they lack flexibility. So every moment counts when it comes down to, well, do I see damage being dealt? Looks like Knight in the RU251 gets caught out. I thought that was a glitch. Looks like it's not.
Nope, Swipple caught him out, took him down.
Yeah, he was guarding while we saw that boost come out of Rival, and he will go down for it. I don't know if we can say it's worth it or not yet, but I think that maybe getting a bad shot into the high ground is value unto itself. And Executus, if he can find a way of being effective, could counter out Andy Pants, could even deal plenty of damage to Commodore or to Warbender.
Yep, and this is very similar to what we used to see at a high voltage. Is the mouse is just sitting here in this north area with the armor, just looking over. And now that they have the increased DPM, they can just fire shots at cap blind, try to get the resets when the cap pressure comes out from Rival. And other than that, that's remember, Rival have a whole lot of bat chats. These bat chats are not going to fare well versus mouses, especially at any sort of range.
Yeah, they need to find something caught out. They need to catch out a tank, take it down, get out of there before the mouse can come and support. Because that's an option. It's risky, but it is something that Rival can start looking for as far as a small objective during the battle. And yeah, that's the problem with bringing a lot of bat chats and TVPs.
Yeah, now you guys have to remember, if 07 win this will be 4 in a row for them, and they'll have the momentum. Rival looks so good early on. They got 4 wins. Bang, 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 just got it out. And they've had 4 chances to walk away with the win in regulation, and each chance just slipping through their fingers.
Each time. Now, I see blind fire coming out from Executus, a little blind fire from, I think, the Kronwagen as well, trying to see what they can catch, make sure there's no passive tanks waiting around. And, well, I see blind fire in return as well from tanks out. Oh, there's the STB, the CRV 103B. Makos is spotted finally, and the mouse is finally lit from the side of 07. So Rival making a tiny bit of headway and getting some spotting they've really been looking for. But it doesn't look like Executus is gonna.
And Rival don't have that RU-251, so they don't have that tank for cap pressure now.
And also for spotting. Knight would have been amazing to have a scout right now, but not going to be an option for them. And, well, as more blind fire comes out, Executus seems to have some kind of fixation with one of the passive positions in the backfield. And that is something I'm kind of wondering about. Why is he so fixated on that cap point? Well, he's got a shot onto Warbender, though. First shot for 370.
You can see the flash. You can tell it's a heat shell he's firing.
Yep.
I wonder if that's something we're going to see. If we're going to see ammo loadout changes. You know, all of a sudden for bat chats, heat shells become a must carry. You know, at least 2 clips.
And it becomes all the more important to make sure you load the right shell type, and that actually could cause bat chats depending on certain lineups. You could actually counter bat chats by making it so you've got one tank that works well for APCR shells and one tank that the bat chat's effective against with heat, but not both, right?
An IS-7 to go along with the mouse.
And combo those together, think about how effective you're going to be when you're taking on some bat chats, how many shells you'll bounce.
Yep, we're once again 215Bs. Bring in, has space armor alongside, as well as the tracks, and then you have the HES shells from those 215Bs. So if you keep them together, let them work, you know, you can really cause some problems for these bat chats.
Yeah, it adds a level of complexity that we haven't had to see much before, because usually you could just pick your APCR shells, maybe load a round of heat, be good to go, right? Now, with these mouse, if these bat chats didn't bring the right shells, they're going to have a lot of trouble dealing the damage they need to deal.
Well, Executus, that's an extremely thin shot to pen, because remember, that S-Tank has a heat shield on the front of it. And what I mean by that is there's spaced armor essentially strapped to the front of the tank.
Going down. Sorry.
He's going to even it up. He gets caught out.
Yeah, he's, I think he was trying to get out of his position or something, but he is taken down, so...
But anyways, just to remind people, the S-Tank has, I think, a spaced armor along the front, and the heat shells will hit that spaced armor, and they'll just detonate right then and there without doing damage. The only shot that Executus has is arcing it over that shield and managing to hit the cupola in the back left corner of the tank. It's an extremely narrow shot, and you could be extremely fortunate to hit it. The first time, the S-Tank wasn't looking directly at him, so he got the free shot in there, but the shots after that were questionable.
Yeah, and well... We're going to see cap pressure right now. Unfortunately, it looks like whatever the tank isn't showing up for me on cap. So unfortunately, it looks like a little glitch is going to keep me from telling where rivals' tanks are on cap. We'll have to see what 07's able to spot.
No, another one's just behind cap. He's not on it at the moment. I don't see anyone else.
No, I actually, my observer's not rendering him.
Well, no cap pressure going on right now, and there's 2 minutes away from 07 walking away. Well, not walking away, but tying this up at 4 apiece and forcing overtime. And right now, Rival already doing a huge favor for Valence, but Valence still have their work cut out for them tonight, as their second match is going to be Eclipse versus Valence. And Eclipse trying to eyeball that second place spot. They're going to want to get that win, so that should be a fun match to watch as well, just after the conclusion of this one.
Absolutely. So now cap pressure starting. You've got 47 seconds on that. Rival putting the pressure on, and the response from 07 looks like we're going to see Warbender start to move up, Makos as well, and Commodore. But I wonder if they're going to be able to get close enough to get the spotting that they need, or what's going to happen there. And, well, Zakum's pretty close. Unknown flak, they are finally lit.
Swipple's going to just completely YOLO in and just have complete disregard for his life as long as they get the lights and resets on cap. Makos finally takes down flak.
And Executus is going to get that win in the 1v1. Barely going to live through it, by the way.
And now Zakum's on reload after putting his last shot into Makos. And 07 looking pretty good right now. There's 50 seconds on cap. A second tank needs to get on for the cap to even be feasible. And at this point, Arclet's going to close in and just drive in there, make sure he gets the lights. Both mouses sitting around, ready to get shots as the S-Tank. Now, 3 on cap, 10 seconds left. One reset's going to come in as they take down one tank on cap. Reset onto the second from Arclet, who picks up the kill on the unknown one. And that's going to be the cap over. That's going to be 07 walking away with this as Arclet gets caught out in the open and farmed by Zakum.
Yep, and it's not even enough hit points that they could even hope to come back from. 07 is going to tie this one up. Well played. They get themselves focused back into the game. They did not lose heart. They didn't get distracted. They didn't let morale take them down. And, well, Rival putting up one of the best score lines that they've put this season. They can one-up their previous by winning in the tiebreaker. 07, though, I think needs it, wants it a little bit more. And so we'll have to see what the admin calls for the fastest battle time, and that will judge who picks sides.
It has to be the attack on mines from Rival.
I think it will be, but I want to hold on.
I don't think there was anything else close.
I will check his match sheet and see if our admin has decided to tell us what that is already. If not, well, so it looks like looks like it's going to be that Ruinberg maybe. Wonder if it's going to be that. We had a
no, because it had to be attacking win. The only quick game on Ruinberg was the defense.
You're right. That was
attack.
defensive win. That was an attacking win.
Yeah, it has to be mine's attack. Himmelsdorf was really slow.
7,
So anyways, while you're figuring that out, look at the fantasy points here and the damage. Commodore, 3,700 damage in that mouse as long as 70 fantasy points. Executus, top damage dealer for his team, 3,407. Swipple able to do 2,400. Makos another 2,200, 70 fantasy points in that S-Tank. And then Zakum only able to get 1,500 off in the Kronwagen. And Arklet, the 140, got a lot of base reset points, almost 100 fantasy points. Not bad at all. Warbander coming in here, another 1,000 out of the mouse, and another 70 fantasy points there. And this is going to be one long series, so those that stack players in this match are going to be loving this either way, provided some of these matches haven't had the most fantasy points, a lot of multiple cap-outs in there, so it won't be as fruitful as some people will have hoped.
And it looks like, as I alt-tab back in, I'm going to see, it looks like that Mines one you were talking about was probably it, the fast cap by Rival, I believe it was.
Yeah, because that game was over within under like 2 minutes, so you have to imagine that ends up taking that. Looking at it, it's been a back and forth series. First, it started off 4-0 in favor of Rival. Rival just playing with some energy and ideas that we haven't seen out of them all season, or anyone for that matter. And then all of a sudden, 07 turned it on. They got win after win. They came back into it on Ruinberg. They won both games on steps. And now they're sitting here tied 4-4 right now. Going into overtime, it's really just been a round of two halves, essentially.
Yeah.
Game of two halves.
Yeah, where the first half was Rival showing 07 that they actually can take this seriously and they can put up a good fight. And then 07 showing that they want to experiment with some new things, sure, but that they still do need to practice a little bit and understand some of their weaknesses and where they can be taken advantage of by a more nimble and fast opponent.
Yep. So, and just confirmed here by our admins, Rival had the fastest attacking win at 1 minute and 20 seconds. So 80 seconds, essentially, they got that round done, and they will pick defense on Prokhorovka.
All right, so defense on Proc for Rival for that 1 minute, 20 seconds. Nice pickup there. And on Proc, well, this is one of the maps that Rival is best known for.
They've always been traditionally known for Proc, a lot of high-energy strats, being a little bit maybe on the crazy side, the wild side. They never shied away from the danger zone.
Oh, no.
Just went in there.
They used to just go up and over, just 2 layers of brawl and just win, because that was what they did. Now, we're about to get into the final battle and find out who's going to come out ahead in this tiebreaker between 07 and Rival.
Prokhorovka, one of the first maps in the game. Teams start at the regular spawn points as they do in standard battles. Bases are separated from each other by the railway, so the defending team has to choose whether to send their vehicles to the left side, playing them in the centre, or to the right of the railway, occupying the hill and a part of the village. The attacking team usually attacks the first base. However, the teams often go for face-to-face confrontations, 7-on-7, in the hilly terrain at the centre. That's why both teams frequently use vehicles with good gun depression angles and sturdy turrets.
And here we go in the final battle of the series, 07 and IS-7, a Batchat, 2 STBs, an STRV-103B, Arklet in the WZ, and a Tier 9 Batchat. Meanwhile, Rival Simple Tankers, an IS-7, 5 Batchats, and an RU-251 Rival opting to defend once again on Prokhorovka.
Makes sense. I don't blame them for that. Defending on Proc can be tricky, though. And 07, with those STBs, tells me they're going to be playing it slow, but they're just going to try and whittle Rival down and just push them slowly back and farther back. And if they can successfully do that while dealing enough damage to Rival, they can win. If they can't get enough early kills, I think Rival takes them down.
And one thing that's horrendously underrated about the STB sometimes is its DPM is amazing. It's one of the highest DPM Tier 10 medium tanks we have, so they are not anything to scoff at. Turret armor on them can be all right, one hull down, but overall the tank's kind of soft.
And what is that? What is that I'm seeing from the Rival tanks that they're just grouping up for? Are they just gonna sit passive in a weird bush? That is so strange.
I think it's an ambush, maybe.
It's an ambush. It's a bat bush.
Meanwhile, S-Tank coming back over here deep on the one line. WZ getting out in front to go clear this bat chat. We'll have to see when the bat chat opts to move away.
You know what, Brox? I have to know what's going on with Rival, so we have to take a listen with them. At least just for the opening portion of this. I want to know what's going on in their heads and if they're discussing their strategy. So we're going to go to a listen-in with Rival Simple Tankers for our tiebreaker.
I'll figure this out here in a second.
Yeah, if Knight doesn't find anything, we need to weave.
Well, Knight's already on the hilltop.
Yeah. Okay.
Should we weave then? I think we should weave.
Yeah, we have to prepare.
Zach, stay there.
place.
You stay there so you can get the resets and we can cover exact
Yeah.
A6.
So can we get down here?
Hey, Knight, make sure you fondle the dick bush.
No problem. Just for you, Flat.
Nice job.
Yo, I'm professional.
At jumping.
Tree down at E1.
So they're just pushing
Sort
that
of
way.
in the middle. Could be this tree.
Can we get some bats down here covering me? Because I'm going to do a scout run like this.
Yep. 7.
Okay. Do we want 2 or 3?
Just 2.
Keep one. Keep the other 2 in the middle, so they can
go test.
I'll go far south. Let's have the middle. Let's have someone on the south side of the middle and someone on north side of the middle.
There's the Wheezy. I'm gonna go through.
Can I take that thing?
Not being lit in the south.
I'm doing it.
Okay, I'm gonna go through the
shooting buildings.
I'm gonna go down this way.
I finally got lit.
You look for shots here, guys. Okay.
Copy.
Oh,
Also
that
need to be ready
guy.
if they try to jump Zach.
That guy at E1, I think it's STRV. He's still
Bad
there.
AP.
Hook him up.
He's tracked. Tesla and Knight, get up on the southern edge.
He's safe. He's safe under there.
Yeah, STRV E1. He's there.
Yeah, they're not on cap yet.
He's just firing
Tesla
at
and
me.
Knight, were you guys lit down here or was it just me?
I was not lit.
I was not lit either.
Okay.
I never shot.
So they don't have too much intel.
Well, now he's fired HE at me.
Do you think we can get these 2 bats and just come dump?
And Rival holding firm right now, going with a new defense, just kind of spreading things out. They know that there's no pressure. You heard them mention there is no cap pressure from their teams. They're not in any hurry, just making sure all their bases are covered.
Yeah, and you can hear it in the voices. It doesn't sound like Rival's lost any focus. Sounds like everyone's on point and working together. So good to hear that Rival, after 4 losses in a row to 0-7 in this series, they're managing to stay focused because they understand that they just have to get that 1 win. And I got to give it to 0-7. Putting 4 wins in a row after going down 4 losses is a giant of a task, sir. So
well, you have to also wonder about the tilt factor from 0-7. You know, the fact that they managed to recover from that, because it's not just that you were down 4 games. You were down 4 games to Rival, which, no offense to them, a lot of these teams are going to be like, it's Rival, they're the whipping boys, they're a team down in last place, we should beat them, no problem.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to wonder how many people that actually got under their skin.
Yeah, and so we're going to be seeing a little bit of movement from 0-7 as they're going to group up in the middle. Bat Chat spotting to the north. IS-7 to just kind of play games with the other IS-7 from Rival. S-Tank to just kind of be general coverage in every direction. And then a Bat Chat AP just for spotting coverage. So 0-7 has decent control over most of the map. Now, if you're looking at Rival's position, and taking a look at the bottom left, got a little illustration for you, they've got control, but mostly they've just got vision. They've got the ability to spot things, but they don't really have the winning positions to kind of, well, they don't really have the winning positions to actually hold on to the cap or to punish. And so the big problem right now for Rival is they've really got control of a portion of the map, but not all of it. And the cap that's being pressured is, well, the number 1 cap.
The thing you're forgetting, though, is Koom, who you can't see on your minimap there. He's sitting in the low ground at D5.
Yes, I currently cannot see him on my minimap, so that is true. We'll see. We'll see how this one goes, but Zakum's finally taking a lot of damage. He's down by about half of his hit points. If he goes down, 07's probably going to be able to sink this. If he's able to stay alive and Rival comes up with any counterplay, then I'm waiting to see what goes on there. But right now, I'm not seeing a strong counterplay. So I'm skeptical right now. And I don't know. What do you see, Rox? Do you see a way out of this for Rival? Or do you see this going to 07?
They need to close one direction. They need to make a decisive push.
That's the push right there. You've got Unknown, Tesla, Flak, all moving up. Knight also going to 1v1 Fosta. He'll probably go down. And then it begins. Unknown's lit. He's trying to get around, but is there
Tanks
gonna be
closing from all directions. Batchat joining the cap, and he's actually going to push through to make sure that Zakum goes down, so there's no resets. STB getting focused out of Warbander. He's going to take a lot of damage. 1,300. One more shot. He goes down.
That's the reset as well. So Rival staying in this one, at least keeping time on their side, as they're going to take down Foster and Arclet. Okay, but
Tesla takes the bounce from Swipple. She might be able to get out of there alive. Swipple's going to eyeball the shot as she leaves. She's looking for it, but doesn't snap it off. One goes right over her head, and she gets into the low ground to fight another day.
All right, so now, with just a few hit points remaining, Commander J is a reminder all the way in the south. Tesla will go down. That's going to be Swipple swinging in there and to be able to land that one. And shots out towards, looks like Flak, Commander J. And Rival's going to have to back off and try again, but I don't know if they're going to have the hit points or the firepower to do
only
this
3 tanks alive against 4. Now, the one thing they do have is time is on their side. Only 2 minutes 45 seconds left.
All they have to do is reset the cap once they're about 40 seconds left, and they got it. Otherwise,
2 tanks on cap now, so now there's the cap pressure. And this is the thing, though, is tank management. Now they know there's 2 tanks on cap. Then there's 2 tanks not on cap, and they have 3 that are around flexing around. So they should still be able to find a way to get at least a few resets for a little bit. The problem is they can't close too close to that cap and put themselves in a position where they can easily be ganged up on.
Yeah, that's the trouble. And there, Executus peeks out, gets one connection, that's into Andypants, and that's going to reset Commander J at the same time in the high ground. It's going to have shots onto Andypants and gets the kill. Absolutely perfect right there. That's what Rival needed. But now Commander J needs to just get out because the resets happened. Tanks are going to come and try and stop you from doing that again, but you don't need to bleed any more hit points. Not for that. And there, nice shot from Executus, sneaking one into Swipple, trying to put damage out where he can.
Swipple's going to come over. He's going to find Commander J.
Oh, is he? Now he is. Yes, finally in the open. Took him a minute. Zero's on the target.
STB, not the most accurate tank.
Missed the shot. Swipple getting some shaky hands there for a moment. And that's going to allow for Flak to put some cover fire out. And on the move. Never mind, that's Swipple.
Commander J needs to get over this hill. If Commander J stays alive, Rival still have a chance at this. If he goes down, it's going to be just down to Flak. And barely misses onto Commander J. He's going to be alive just for a little bit longer. Only 1 tank on cap. Now 2 tanks on cap, down to 50 seconds. They're going to need at least 1 more reset. Arclet joining the cap, or Mako's, excuse me, in this tank, joining the cap just in time.
And look at the way that Flak is moving around in the backfield. He's going to be going all the way off to the 9 line to try and avoid getting spotted by Swipple, who is, by the way, at this exact moment, positioning himself so that he can deal with both Commander J's position and Flak's approach. And, well, he's going to spot Flak. This is dangerous. If Flak decides to go up and over and Makos can sink his shell, then they can take down Flak. If Makos does not sink a shell and Swipple sinks
Well,
his...
this is going to be down to Commander J. Flak just has to keep Swipple busy. Commander J has to get the resets in the next 20 seconds. If he gets 1 or 2 resets and drives away while Swipple is busy, he can do this. He's going to come over. He's going to find the I-7. He finds the S-Tank. The S-Tank fires where he shouldn't have. He doesn't get the reset. He has 1 more chance to do this. Does he get the penetration? No, he doesn't. That's a cap. That is over. That is 07 capping out on Prokhorovka to walk away with the win. 5 straight games in a row.
And just 1 moment more, and we might have seen that completely different. I have to give it to Rival. I think this was one of their best matches all season. It was certainly one of the most entertaining matches, so thank you, Rival. And to 07, they managed to claw
5 straight
back.
games.
Yeah.
What a gauntlet they just ran. We watched earlier this season over in the European region, we watched Kazna Crew turn around from a 4-0 deficit to, I believe it was Ding. Yep. And they managed to turn it around and win it 5 straight games. And
just a round of applause for him. Now let's take a look at the post-battle stats. Look at the fantasy points. Mako's definitely showing up today, putting out 3K damage right behind him. Commander J, I always talk about him. He's going to have that one day. Today was his day. He played really well.
Warbander going down early. Executus, though, 122 fantasy points. Got some big resets there at the end.
Makes it rain. If you picked Executus today, you are in luck.
Yep, and just overall, good stuff from both teams, but you have to feel for Rival. They were so close to their first win on the season. They were 1 round away. They had 5 chances to get the win, and they dropped every single one of them.
Yeah, it's what happens, but you know what? You said it. Rivals they're not motivated like a team like 07 is. And so they didn't need to win this like 07 did. And so maybe that little bit of a drive was enough for them. And let's look at the post-match stats. So tell me about, what do you think? 500 fantasy points for Flak right there.
Well, looking at it, but then also the other ones that really stick out, well, there's a lot of fantasy points here. Warbandit, 425. Executus, 442. Everyone else sitting just under 400 for the most part. Mako's Commodore just above 400. So a lot of fantasy points from a very, very long match. Not bad at all on the second page. Even some good fantasy points down here. Tesla, Commander J, Zakum, all doing almost 400 fantasy points. Solid stuff there. Rocks, a known one in Swipple. Just kind of trailing down there at the end. Not able to be as effective, but a lot of fantasy points, especially for those that stack people from this game.
And look at this. Flak, by the way, is one of the players that's picked less than 1% of the time.
So if you had him today,
you're a winner. You are a winner.
You played the slot machine, and you just got 3 in a row.
Yep.
Not even diagonally, just 3 straight across.
Just instant win. Congratulations. Just go straight up there and just claim your prize. Well, Top Fantasy, we've just gone over that, so that's going to be it for the first match of Rival versus 07, and it's going to go to a tiebreaker of all things. Absolutely phenomenal. We're actually going to be joined for a post-game interview from the representative of 07. I don't know if it's going to be Jay Smooth or if it's going to be Meadowhawk. Sir, welcome to the broadcast. Is it? It's Meadow Smooth?
It's Meadow Smooth.
Meadow
Smooth is here.
Dude, you guys were down 4-0 to start this one out.
Gong show.
What was that? What was the...
That was a clown fiesta. Basically, we overthought the patch. Obviously, Himmels as a first map after that. Like, it's one of those things. Like, Type 5s almost worked over Mouses. I mean, I think Rock's got ammo racked in the 50B up top. And if he didn't get ammo racked, we might have actually won that because Type 5s are just beasts. I mean, Mouse, that's the meta's going to play out either Type 5 or Mouse. I personally, on the Type 5 side, I think, dishing out 500 to 600 damage regardless of where you hit, and then wrecking any kind of a light tank that's trying to flank you.
I see where that comes in, but with the Mouse, the armor, and just the ability to angle it like that.
Yeah, but it's true. But yeah, it was a crazy match. I'm glad we kind of calmed down. I mean, I was telling people that, if we made it through Ruinberg, we'd be fine. Because, Fawcett still did bring some mice on steps. But for the most part, mice, on a steps attack, you're not going to bring mice on a steps attack, which,
Yeah, it makes sense.
I think help calmed us out. And then, man, that tiebreaker was a nail biter.
Yeah, because one little different, like one shot missed or one shot connected from Commander J at the end would have ruined it for you. That would have been it. It would have been completely over. And we listened to the comms a little earlier. We heard something not quite the same style as what we've always heard from 07. It felt like calling was coming from a few different places. Is something changing with the addition of Arclet and the way your team kind of flows, as it were?
It's kind of always been like that. I mean, obviously before it was Ledif and Fosta doing the majority. Now, obviously, Arclet's taken over Ledif's spot, so he's doing the majority of the side calling. But we still have, like, Warbender, Andy, and Swipple. I think we're trying to get away from that democratic calling, but we can't seem to. I guess we're of the mentality that, 7 minds are better than 2, which can sometimes be a detriment.
Well, yeah, sometimes, but other times it could just be a part of your nature. So, Meadowhawk, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.
Yes, and here's this guy right here.
Oh, that's what
this guy right here.
How did you do this?
This guy right here.
Yeah?
This is it's just green screen. Everyone's always asked if my backdrop is green screen. This is an actual green screen.
Oh, okay, this makes more sense.
I just wanted to do a big shout out to Jay Smooth. Obviously, I think he's probably going to be fully retired at the end of this year. And I've absolutely loved doing all face-offs with him. He's, a great guy. He always gets together with me, and is willing to make a goof of himself just like I am. So a big 07 and respects out to J Smooth.
Mad respect. Thank you so much, Meadowhawk. You are a gentleman and a scholar. See you next time on the battlefield, sir. Always a pleasure. And he's right. J Smooth is one of the people that first, when we started doing the WGLNA, finally showed everyone else how to do a face-off, how to be a personality, represent your team, and show everyone why they should cheer for Rival or why they should cheer for 07.
Well, I can specifically remember from a long time ago, like season 1 and 2, some interviews with J Smooth and Captain Blood from River of Blood.
Oh, Captain
Some
Blood.
of those interviews.
Yeah.
Oh, those were good days.
See, that's the fun stuff. When you get to see the two teams stand up here and just banter for a moment, let us know what their personality, their style is. Because generally, you know, like players tend to gather together, people that get along. And so you see that kind of shown on a face-off.
Yeah, well, that does it for our first battle of the evening, guys. But don't go anywhere because we have one more after this international top 5 highlight video.
This is really, really risky here by Combat. I don't know if he's going to try and instantly to the climb. It looked like that for a second, like he was lining up to the climb instantly. I hope he doesn't. Yes, he is, like I said.
Oh my god, this could hurt a lot.
He's going.
He's still
going.
spotted.
That's... Ooh, a miss from one of the... Oh, but he's on fire! Combat, no! He's burning! Minus 1.3. I was going to say either the 100 or the Gorilla missed him.
But he's still not safe.
Oh! Papa Pavian from the back lines removes Combat in the beginning as Mojo steers are all over the place.
Big Pig takes a shot to his hull and takes damage for it. Or Cry is pushing very far forward in the 50B here. I'm not sure what he's doing. He needs to get the reset. There's only 5 seconds. That's why he's pushed so far forward. Meltdown might have thrown this away. They've done it.
That's it. Oh no, the reset. Oh my goodness, what is happening right now? Cry's just gone down for Meltdown. The Horsemen, they've still got those tanks on the flag. 18 seconds left for that one, but they're moving off it. They want to finish Meltdown.
Look at this. This is something we haven't seen before. Like, Zafarchik will be completely safe here. I don't think anyone can get to him from this position. And he will have another kind of angles.
This is impressive because if it goes wrong, these tanks will start taking damage. As it looks like it'll be a push. Zafar just needs to do a bit of wiggle. He has the angle to the side there.
Oh, and look at this team coming out of that artillery.
Up he goes as he gets into that area. Now, at any point he can just drop backwards, but it's important to remember that, I mean, Go Hard are the attacking team. He does. I mean, that's him aiming at Milos right now. Connection. Oh! Hello, Milos!
Unbelievable.
He's now thinking to himself, where the feck did that come from? How did I get hit? Where the heck is artillery?
Photo takes a shot from that E3, but now he's going to push around, try to bait some shots. Drock is still alive. Fixer reloaded, looking at multiple angles. And it's going to be Photo. No, Drock's going to snap the shot off. Now the Photo finishes around the E3, and all of a sudden Eclipse are about to win this round.
But here comes Oghako in an IS-4, and he's going to be able to pick up Drock. And now he's going to be able to 1v1 against Photo Finish. Photo Finish being, by the way, one of the best heavy tankers that there is.
And he's going to bait around Oghako into the gun of the 4005. A great track shot there.
And then an even better track shot, I'd say, for Oghako. Keeping that IS-7 exposed.
And now he can side scrape this angle. It's going to be really hard for Photo to play, and T1 Diabetics not going to have the angle.
No, he's not.
Tracks it. T1's trying to close. They have to keep Photo Finish alive. Now a gunner and driver gone for Photo. He had his gunner down before, but now his driver's dead as well. And now Oghako is about to do this. Now remember, Oghako is also one of the best heavy tank players in the league as well, so two of the best squaring off there.
And now you've got a 4005 versus an IS-4. Probably one of the least ideal tanks for T1 to have to fight.
And the HE shell from that IS-4 coming out into that 4005 for almost 550. He has to make this shot count. If it pens, it's over. If it bounces, nope, doesn't get it. And now it's going to be Photo Finish able to clean that up. Another HE shell going into the 4005. And what a round that was.
Absolutely phenomenal there, ladies and gentlemen.
Смотрим, как слайд у нас будет доигрывать.
Бам. Не бам.
Сразу забирает Грифона. Блайн, что ли, будет выкидывать?
Да нет,
Ушел на перезарядку. У него есть время для перезарядки. Да неужели сейчас слайд затащит это? Вот кого он первого увидит? Раз. Два.
Да, ваншота против него.
Перезаряжаться, уходить. Ай-яй-яй, это сервера ловит. Очень напряженный момент. Минута до захвата базы. И слайд может потащить. Может потащить. И сейчас, если сервер на него выкатится, он заберет сервера, то у него есть все шансы. Сервер действительно выходит вперед.
И просто на него сейчас вылетает.
Да ладно, он забрал сервера! Осталось
Что
забрать! Минута 10! Боже мой, Диодор 318 хп! И слайд на этот раз решил все-таки обкатиться 100%. Но, наверное...
Третий раз, наверное, уже не выйдет тот. Или четвертый раз, который раз он тут собирается выйти. А куда смотрит Диодор?
Покажите, пожалуйста,
А Диодор смотрит не туда, боже!
Он забрал Диодора, вытащил! Слайд, да как ты это делаешь, боже мой! Да
вот
что это
бой он
такое?
вытащил.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with more World of Tanks action. We just watched 07 play Rival, 07 winning 5 in a row to close out the game. Denied Rival their first win of the season. But now we are going to have Eclipse up versus Valence.
Absolutely. And, well, this is one that's expected to be pretty one-sided. Let's be real about this. But before we get into discussing too much about that, let's talk a little bit about fantasy and social media. Rockstar.
Yeah, well, you guys have already seen all the fantasy points that occurred in the previous match. To see where those come into play, go to WGL.GG/fantasy, WGLNA. Pick your best starting 7 every match day. Try to compete for a Type 59, a whole lot of gold. Myself, Randall, all the Gold League players, all the Wargaming staff, all the ESL players, they're all in there. So see how you stack up against the rest of us.
Yeah, and we're ineligible for the prizes, but we'll still show you how well we can try when it doesn't count for us, when we can't play for the prizes. But you can reach out.
How badly you does it.
Exactly, or how badly I do. I kind of consider myself the pace car, as it were, of the fantasy league. But you can tell us all about your thoughts and what you think. Ask us some questions on Twitter at WGLNA, hashtag WGLNA, and on Facebook as well, /WGLNA. Now, we also have the question of the day. The question of today is, how do you think the 9.17.1 patch is going to impact the WGLNA? Tell us your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen there? Mouse Type 5, we've seen some evidence of the way that it's changed things already. We want to keep hearing those opinions, and you'll get featured here on the broadcast if you do. That's at WGLNA, hashtag WGLNA.
Yep. Another thing to keep in mind with the new patch, just something for all you out there, you don't see it here on the broadcast, but also if you go into your settings to the far right tabs, there's also new damage markers and indicators that you can mess around with, more advanced options to kind of add into your UI, replaces some of the stuff that mods have traditionally done. So make sure you check that out and don't let that kind of slip under the radar.
Yeah, always pay attention to the new little features that kind of sneak in every time a patch comes out. Some of those aren't as well advertised as the tank changes, but they certainly do have an impact. Now, let's talk about Eclipse versus Valence, starting off with Eclipse, their roster. Who are you watching?
Well, Ledif obviously is one of the players to watch since joining this roster. Well, he was someone to watch before he joined this roster. He's the top fantasy point scorer on the season right now, but then you have to look at all these players around him that are just so talented. T1 Diabetic, Photo Finish, Master Pupil, Tigers, all these players coming together. Tigers becoming the caller once again, taking back over mid-season, really put this team on an upswing, and right now, they need to get a result.
And we'll be moving over to Valence now. Valence, I'm watching for Spooky to really pick things up tonight. Also, Matt Knight is known as a good heavy player, along with G-Forcer.
Yep, and Spooky dropped the ball pretty heavy on the last match day. Someone that's always been one of their top performers had a really off night. So if Valence want to have any chance in this match right now, he needs to make sure that he is on fire, on point, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, let's look at the maps for this series. We got Muravanka, Himmelsdorf, Mines, Ruinberg, and Prohorovka as the tiebreaker for today.
So Muravanka, I expect we will probably see some Type 5s come out, especially on defense, to use the HE shells against those Batchets. With that 15-second reload, even though it only has 75 penetration, if you're shooting the Batchets, should be able to do a good bit of damage.
Also, I think Himmelsdorf and Mines as well are things to note. Actually,
all
Ruinberg as well.
We could potentially see some of the tanks that were changed in this most recent patch.
Yeah, so I think a lot of this series will be examining how Eclipse and how Valence decide to implement the changes to the Type 5 to the mouse, and possibly others, depending on how that goes. But we shall have to wait and see because, well, we haven't even done the face-off yet, sir. We haven't even got to talk to these two teams and see what they have to say about the meta, because we saw some opinion from 07 and Rival, and they certainly feel like they're certainly on two different sides of it. 07 deciding to embrace the new meta and try and go with that, while Rival earlier seemed to kind of say, let's wait a minute. And oh, look, Ute. Ute seems to think the mouse will resurface and reign supreme yet again. And if he says it shall be, I'm guessing it shall.
Yeah, definitely. And, some people have kind of, I think, been overreacting a little bit to the mouse meta. I don't think it's going to be quite as prevalent as we've seen. It's definitely going to have more of a place than it did before.
Yeah.
But we're not going to see it on the scale that we see some of these other tanks, like the Batchets, for example. I don't think those are going anywhere anytime soon.
Do you know if the three mouse strat that we saw from Rival, something like that, could be used on attack here or there? Because it seemed effective.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not. I think we'll definitely see new strats, but once again, it's how it's going to evolve the meta, not so much those particular matches, but, okay, they're going to bring 3 mouses for this attack. How do we counter that? What do we do to stop that as the defending team? So that's where we're going to start to see a lot of the changes.
Okay, and well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Let's talk a little bit about, actually, I want to ask about Himmelsdorf and talk a little bit about that one, because the Type 5 versus mouse kind of a thing. We saw that mentioned by Meadowhawk earlier, and the HE is something I'm skeptical of. Well, 75 pen? That's not really that high.
But we watched it just smack a mouse for 600-700 damage at a time, so it has a slightly longer reload than those mouses. It's able to just consistently do damage. So
almost double the reload.
Yeah, well, it mitigates the armor, though, of the mouse. That's the biggest thing. One of the most devastating changes that mouse had was not just the buff to the DPM, but the armor buff both to the turret and the lower plate. And so when you bring a tank like a Type 5, you completely mitigate the effectiveness of that armor. So if you can play it slow, you can put it in a situation where the DPM of the mouse isn't a factor, and the other tanks, kind of give the Type 5 time to work. Those Type 5s can absolutely be effective. And plus, as we saw from the question of our day, use them as a base resetting tank. I had a question about that on Himmelsdorf. I think it's a completely viable option.
Well, let's see what both teams have to say about this, as we are joined by their representatives here on the face-off. We have Ledif, welcome back, and Spooky. Oh, welcome, Spooky. This is a surprise. Let's start with the question of the day, guys. Ledif, you're first. What do you think the new patch means for the WGL?
I think you're going to see a lot more mice.
Yeah?
I think you've already seen a lot more mice, so it's an easy one.
Okay, what do you think about the Type 5 versus mouse argument we've been having?
I don't know. HE always does damage, but the mouse is pretty buff now, so it's hard to say.
Hard to say. Thank you so much, Ledif. Spooky, your thoughts on the new patch in the meta?
Big guns, big armor. Yes, finally we don't have to learn how to rotate anymore. I can just sit in a corner. It's amazing.
Is that the key to your success? Because Spooky, I want to start off with my first question being, Spooky, how are you dealing with the fact that last week was not good for your team? It wasn't good for your performance in particular, we noticed. What are you doing to fix that?
Ooh, let's see. Well, for one, we're going to be bringing... Actually, I probably shouldn't say what we're bringing, but...
I mean,
heavy meta, boys. Heavy meta, boys. That's all I can say.
Okay. I'm pretty sure everyone who's been paying attention probably saw it coming, right? So you're probably not spoiling anything. Ledif.
Yeah.
Ledif.
All right.
Ledif, what I got for you is, you kind of switch teams mid-season, obviously. Meadowhawk had some stuff to say about that during the last interview. How do you like fitting into Eclipse? What are the biggest differences between 07 and Eclipse?
I mean, it's tough. I've been here for 2 weeks now, I think. And I didn't really have a lot of time to get used to it. So a lot of new stuff, a lot of learning. I like it. I miss my guys from 07. I was glad to see them win tonight, but I'm enjoying Eclipse a lot. It's been good for the last 2 weeks.
What I want to ask actually a little bit of that. Can you tell us all a little bit about the process of going from one team to another, and kind of what that's like for looking for a team?
In this case, I kind of knew people on Eclipse, so I got asked when I joined. But I guess, I mean, if you're, if you know people, it's probably the easiest way to join a team.
Networking, making friends, the classic deal. Oh god.
Yeah, unfortunately, kind of a lame answer, but you got to know someone, so.
It makes a lot of sense. All right, Spooky, I can see you chomping at the bit. Is there one final word you want to slip in here before we send you guys to battle?
I would say, what?
Bring back the
hat.
hat.
The hat. Bring back the hat, Rue. Come on. Bring back the hat. That's all I can say.
He needs more retweets.
Oh. Yes. Yes.
For you,
That's what I'm
Spooky.
talking about.
For you, I bring it back. Of course, I also keep it on the side table over here, so when you ask.
Oh, that means, Spooky, that now you guys got to go out there and win, though. Otherwise, that hat's going away.
Yep, the hat stays on if Valence wins today. If Eclipse wins, well, too bad. I guess it's going to have to burn.
All right, Ledif, any final thoughts for your fans out there?
No. Shout outs to the fans. And
all right.
All right, thank you so much. We will see you guys on the battlefield. All right.
Peace.
Peace. Spooky is Spoon 2.0 to me. And also, the hat is now on, and it's here. So, surprise, surprise. We'll have to stick with this one for a little while. I hope you guys enjoy. For all the new fans out there, I'm sorry. For all of the old fans, you're welcome. And we're going to start getting ready for battle number 1. It's going to be on Muravanka. And, well, if we're going to see Type 5s, oh, goodness.
I just hope we see a lot of heavy tanks and allow all my Eclipse players on my fantasy team to just farm.
Yeah, because heavy tanks means more hit points means more damage means more fantasy points just means actually across the board, probably on average, everyone just gets about the same. It probably makes no real difference in that respect. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know, looking at it, especially on a map like Muro, though.
What?
How do you make all these heavy tanks work?
You take a Type 5, you roll it right down that 1-2 line. You take another Type 5, you also roll it down the 1-2 line. You take maybe a Mouse, maybe a Kronwagen, mix it in there, make it fun. Throw some bat chats for a good flavor, and you're done. You got it.
We'll have to see. We're actually going to be another minute. We have to have a few more restarts here from the players before we get ready.
Yeah, but new patch days, of course. It's always like that on new patch days. We've got our mods we throw on there. There's, of course, just like everybody's downloaded everything all new, and there's always one or two guys that start crashing all over the place.
Yeah, well, and so, like, at least get back to Muravanka real quick.
Yeah.
I can see a Type 5 on defense or even a Mouse, using it kind of like we saw in Steps, just stationary, let it sit there and just fire at things, driving at it.
Yeah.
But what do you think about a 3-mouse strat on attack on offense?
You know what? Let's entertain the idea. You take it down the 1-2 line. You got 3 mouse. We saw the way that Rival was able to use theirs, angling as much as you can, covering for each other's weak spots. Might work out.
Well, let's see if any of the teams are going to take advantage of the new tanks as we head into our first map of the series.
Muravanka, a map with a great number of buildings, bushes and trees, amongst which teams hide for most of the battle. The attacking team begins the battle from the top of the village, and the defenders start from the bottom of the map. Both bases are better controlled from the hill near the first base, and from the green in the lower left corner of the map. There are many attack directions. The attacking team often attempts to gain the attention of defenders by putting pressure on the first base, whilst manoeuvring several tanks behind the second base to deliver fire into the defending's flank. Team setups are very diverse, but the players often choose the fastest tanks, even for heavy setups. They could even bring SPGs.
And here we go into battle number 1. Eclipse, an IS-4, 4 Batchets, an E4, and an M40-43.
Now that E4 is to counter out that Type 5.
Yep, and the Type 5 as well as a 50B, 4 Batchets, and the Lorraine 155 for Valence.
Okay, so already on both sides, means this can slow down and still stay meaningful.
Yeah, well, already will have targets on both teams to shoot. The E4 and the IS-4 coming out for Eclipse. That'll be plenty of targets for Urtai to shoot at. And then just that Type 5, that's just a giant HP pinata for Dark God Zim and that M40-43. 2,900 HP that Type 5 has. Not quite the 3,200 that the Mouse brings, but still a pretty sizable chunk.
Absolutely. Now the opening moves from both teams. We've got G-Force or Static and Spooky moving east. Urtai with him. And this could be a southeast play for Valence, something that is highly irregular for this map. This is not something that's normally seen. And this is in particular because of positioning of Urtai. Now look at this. It looks like Static is going to find Static and G-Force are going to move up, find No Nick, and they may start taking damage from Letif or Tigers in a moment if they're not careful.
G-Forcer takes one from Tigers
before they are able to get into the Magical Forest, but it's a 3v2 out there.
They're just going to drive straight in. They don't care. Static. Oh, nope. Never mind. Not taking damage.
Ooh,
not confusing me there. Now he finally takes some damage, and Spooky's going to go up and over and find some shots onto him, go for the ram. G-Forcer's going to come around, get in behind him, and put the kill shot into Tigers. Letif's going to get caught out, but they do take down Spooky.
And that's a 2-for-1 right now, but if Letif goes down, that'll be a nice even 2-for-2. And
G doesn't have, oh, G has one last shot. But he doesn't get it off.
Nope.
And now it's going to be down to Urtai. Maybe to get the shot. Nope, doesn't come in. That's going to be a 3-to-1 trade essentially in favor, but Letif's down to a one-shot.
Yep, it's really unfortunate there for Valence on their east side. They were just taken down. Better positioning from Eclipse. And, well, let's see if Valence has any reason to bring this one back as Eclipse is taking it into control.
Photo just has the Bat Chat boxed in there. I promised you guys that Bat Chat's still there. Tie 5 gets behind him and does a massive amount of damage to Photo, but there's nothing Fulcrus can do to save Zondelta, trying to bump into him, maybe make him miss his shot.
Well, there was a bounce. There's
the kill shot, and now Fulcrus is going to have that kill shot on to Photo finish, but this is going to be too little too late, and that's going to be Eclipse.
He did manage to get the shell off in the last possible second, so credit where it's due. And that's going to be it. Eclipse takes battle number 1.
And I like what I saw there out of Valence as far as the idea for defense, but didn't work out just because those bad shots got caught out. Crossfire was set up for too strong. Eclipse, you know, something that's always been a worry on Muravanka is, all right, if we split tanks, what are we going to do to prevent walking into a crossfire? So they were methodical. They had one tank out in front, and they made sure that the rest of the guns weren't too far away. So when those tanks from Valence showed up in the forest, they just sat back, they baited them into the crossfire, and they made a pay for it.
Yeah, pay attention to the position here. The tanks from Valence are too far north by about 15 to 20 meters. Had they made this engagement happen a little farther south, very difficult to do, by the way, because you're baiting a lot of Eclipse tanks out, but could have been done and could have gone a little bit better for Valence. Had they done that, they might have found themselves in a stronger position, but they didn't.
Yep,
and so everything fell apart from there.
No Nick, no skill, starting off strong, 3k damage, 4 kills, 70 fantasy points, 100% accuracy out of the Bat Chat. And then Fulcrus in that Type 5 did a good bit of damage there to Photo finish, but ultimately wasn't able to really be that effective as Photo finish boxed out Zone Delta, didn't let him go anywhere, and made Zone Delta try to activate his Russian camo, try to just completely disappear.
Yeah, the Klingon bird of prey camo, as it were, just like complete cloaking device. Or what we're seeing a little bit.
Or the Enterprise just suddenly beamed him up to their spaceship. Teleported and beamed up. Yeah.
Beam me up is the colloquial term what you use as an instruction, but you don't say someone beamed me up.
Okay. Sorry, I am not as well rehearsed in Star Trek as you are.
It's okay. We're going to move on from that one. We're going to talk more about this battle. Because Eclipse on defense in this lineup, I think this is going to work out.
Drock in the 215B, Photo in the Type 5, 2 Bat Chats, a 430, an SDRV 103B, and an AMX 1390. Meanwhile, Valence, a Mouse, a T57, 4 Bat Chats, and a T54 Lightweight.
Okay. T54 Lightweight says southeast, right? It says the hold downs in the K line, bottom of the map.
Yeah, well, to me, this lineup from Valence is go for the 1 cap. It's set up with the 57 covering the Mouse being the cap pressure, Bat Chats lurking around. With this, I'd expect to see out of Eclipse probably the STRV over on the 1 line, or somewhere passive along the K line, and then use their tanks up in the normal hold downs, flex around the Bat Chats. The 430, something that Tigers has been known for the last couple of seasons is using a tier 10 as a passive scout. And the thing that people forget about the 430 is it has some of the best camo of any of the tier 10 Russians. So we could see him go passive for a long period of time just to light the cap and kind of mess with the heads of Valence.
Now, here's something I'm noticing. The players in the heavy tanks, G-Forcer's in a Bat Chat. I would have expected G-Forcer maybe to be one of the guys that would want a Mouse. What's up with that?
Well,
and, look, this one from Badco. He says, mouse, 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 mouse.
I think you missed a couple in there.
No, I think I got it right.
Yep, and BTED will have a Mouse again. Definitely have to agree there. And Zone Delta already taking some damage as he scouts through the town. The 215B just going right-click, left-click status, putting another shot into him.
He was tracked out in the open, so he's not going to be able to escape as quickly as he like. That last little shell missing barely. And yeah, Zone Delta's getting away. But Drawcav, he definitely made him pay for it. And now Valence has got to figure out what they want to do next, as it's taken this long for Blitzwolf in his mouth to get as far as he has. Blitzwolf has been spending the entire duration of this battle up to this point getting to where he is, which is currently in the grid square, Delta 2. He's about to descend into Echo 2, which will be not much farther than he should go this entire battle. And with that, you're going to see a flex back from Valence. They've given the mouse enough time to do what he does. In the meantime, they've created a distraction and made
like how
Eclipse doubt.
What he's doing right now is he's not like afraid or anything. What he's doing is he's checking all the angles, trying to see if they have a passive scout sitting there in that in the village over on the 1 line as he rocks forward, then rocks back, waits to see if the 6th sense goes off. You have to remember, there's a 3-second delay on 6th sense, so even if you're spotted right then and there, you have to wait 3 seconds to find out if you're truly spotted.
Exactly. And so with that, you see the bat chats finally moving in, and that should prompt Valence, Blitzwolf, to begin maybe getting into a forward position. Although I do wonder if Eclipse is going to know what's going on, but we shall see. And you know what, Rox? Let's take a listen in with Valence to see what they have in mind. I'm being told negative, actually. We can't take a listen in with them.
That's too bad, because they're about to make this crazy push with the 2 tanks finally getting on the cap and the Batchat's just pushing straight down. A bounce from the 215B onto Fulcrus and a miss from Nonick. And Fulcrus somehow hasn't taken any damage as he gets into this village.
I don't know what's going on there, but fantastic for him. And Dark God Zim gets... No, he doesn't. Never mind, excuse me.
You're being lied to, Randall.
I'm being
Dark
lied
God
to.
Zim is just fine. He was just sitting in his bush, minding his own business. Photo Finish has taken some damage, though, as his Blitzwolf did get on cap.
And now, minute 42 for Eclipse to flex around. They're going to send Tigers, Led, Nonick, all their Batchats up to the east. And it looks like their S-Tank is going to begin moving forward to the north as well to rejoin the rest of the squad. And in just a moment, that engagement should begin. Eclipse will be able to shorten the cap, but they will be up against a spread out position of Batchats from Valence, who, well, looks like are ready and waiting. Urtai managing to avoid some damage so far and stalling Nonick and Tigers. Might be able to actually help keep that cap going.
It doesn't look like Eclipse have actually spotted the mouse on cap, despite there he goes, finally gets spotted by the Type 5. Despite having all these Batchats in position to get some resets, weren't able to do anything, and finally some damage coming in. 2 Blitz taking a couple shots right there. Just getting chipped away at slowly.
Yep, he's going to get off cap, angle his armor, and avoid as much damage as he can. In the meantime, I'm hoping that we'll see Valence make a counterplay of some kind, because, well, if Blitz can bounce a few thousand hit points in damage, that means that there's going to be a window for tanks from Valence to, well, counter that out.
But they also have the 430, which is consistent fire, so that window won't be there.
Well, no, you could just deal with the 430 first, while the other Batchats are reloading.
Well, absolutely, but they still have to deal with it. Yeah. They didn't know where he was, and they weren't in position to capitalize on it, and well, that's what's going on. Dark God Zim finds Urtai.
Yep. Lack of cover there for Urtai. Valence making a... I think I'll just go ahead and say it's like just a weak call right there. Didn't understand that those tanks from Eclipse were probably going to push up, or timing of that. Yep, he's going to disappear. And this will be, look at this, Valence is starting to make their move.
And they're not spotted right now, and now they're going to spot each other. Tigers is going to get caught out in the open, and now tanks are going to roll in here. G-Forcer is going to try to find some shots onto Dark God Zim.
He finds Nonick, though, and gets the kill onto them. 2 shells left for him. He's going to start helping.
Spooky's going to get tracked in the open.
But if he can stay effective, might be able to get that 430 down and take a win here, but no. G-Forcer's got 1 shell left, and he's not going to be able to connect. He's going to have to back off after... that felt like some sloppy Batchat play from Valence. Not as much of a fan there. But Eclipse should be able to win this one out, because you can see Drawcap is finally moving on Blitz. This is the counter tank. You bring the 215B because of its damage potential. Unfortunately, bouncing is not ideal.
Just take my close distance and go siege mode right next to him. Just start shooting in to the mouse. Meanwhile, Spooky's still alive, still trying to get on reload, I think. Or is he loaded?
Spooky.
Doesn't matter because he goes down to the 2-on-5B. G-Forcer's finally going to come in and say, I've had enough of your enough of your trouble, Tigers, and take him down.
And try to get away. I think he's going to die right about now, though, as well. There we go.
And that's going to be it. And that's going to be Eclipse taking this 2-0 over Valence.
Yeah, not yet. It's not over yet, sir. They got to kill the last few times.
My mods are lying to me. My bad.
It's okay. It's going to be really... I'm going to apologize one more time. It's been a little while. We're having some issues with the mods. You're noticing probably some display issues on the sidebars with hit points. Please excuse those for today. We'll try and keep you guys informed as much as we can on the actual happenings of the battle. But please excuse us. We will be mistaken from time to time.
T1 goes for the ram, and Photo Finish picks up the kill, and now it's 2-1 in favor of Eclipse.
Yes. You were right in the end. You were right all along, sir. And that's gonna, that's Eclipse 2-0. A little bit different from our earlier match where we saw Rival in 07, where Rival started off on a very strong foot. Valence is gonna have to try and find their way in. The door's not open waiting for them to come on in and make something happen. They're going to have to make their own way against Eclipse. A team like this is dangerous and hard to deal with.
Absolutely. And now we're going to move on to Himmelsdorf.
Yes, where we will see Mouse, Type 5s galore. Also probably a bunch of E3s and E4s, the understandable counter.
Well, judging by what Spooky was saying earlier, I expect to see a whole lot more than just a couple.
Most of the team. There's only 7 players, all right? So a couple could be most of your team.
Fair. Definitely fair.
Like, just being like, oh, a few mouse. And you're like, okay, how many? 4? 3? Well, that's...
6.
6. Oh, gosh. 6 mouse and a 252?
Yeah, I can see that. We haven't seen the 252 yet tonight.
I don't know if players were able to get a hold of them for today. Because I think it's not going on sale till tomorrow, is what I was hearing.
Okay.
Yeah, so there might be a short delay to play it.
I know I saw them out on the Sheriff account earlier this morning, though, so not sure. So the Sheriff accounts, for those who don't know, the Hunter Pro accounts, you see them, you'll have the little target above them, and you see them in pub matches on the opposite team. You manage to kill one of them, get 250 gold. So any of them in those accounts are either pros or staff here.
Yeah, so which means you should feel pretty good about getting the kill, especially in a 1v1, because they're supposed to be good at the game.
Yep, just don't be the guy that just drives out into the open just to get the kill on him.
It doesn't work. We know from experience of playing the Sheriff. If you're that guy that rolls out in the open to try and just get the kill on the Sheriff, it doesn't work for you.
Well, let's see if Valence can find a defense that does work as we head into our next battle.
Himmelsdorf, a small city map. The teams start the battle in opposite corners. Both bases are located close to each other, but in a way that you can't stay on the defensive all the time. The main attack routes pass through the hill, the alley and the railroad, but in general, the attack can be successfully executed through any part of the map. Heavy tanks and tank destroyers with powerful guns run the show here. However, a lot depends on the mobile light tanks.
Rox. So Rox. How about that Valence lineup?
3 mouse, T57, 2 JP8100s, the Death Star, and an AMX 1390 out of Urtai. Eclipse, a 113, a 50B, a 215B, a mouse, a Batchat, an E3, and a 1390.
Neapolitan strats.
So one team completely embracing the new meta, and the other one trying to find some way to counter it.
And in the opening moves, we've got Urtai heading down the banana and not finding anything yet. At the same time, you got 250B 113 out of Ledif and Tigers heading off to the west side. Tigers getting what spotting he can, finds Zone Delta, and Ledif is going to head, well, I think he's heading further south.
I think that's our 3rd tweet from Badco about the mouse, so I wonder if he's excited.
Or maybe our production crew and Badco are in cahoots to get him as much airtime as he can. Watching you, production.
He's been around for a long time, so
he's worth it. Does what he does well.
Long-time moderator of the channel. Yeah. Always been a fan. Great to see him out there.
See, back in my day, Badco was the only mod of the channel.
Fair. Also fair. These mouses just going to push through, start bouncing shots.
And look at this. T1's moving back to the west side and might actually cross in the open. Not going to take any fire for it. But with 3 mouse moving up the 8 line. That's crazy. And look at this, the way the static is up top as well. He's going to just dirt
right here?
no-nick in a second.
Yeah, and the thing is he has high enough pen to just go through the superstructure. He doesn't even have to aim.
And that's it, 1,033 damage. What do you know? I'm just going to roll it off the hill. With
slightly elevated in a JP is plenty to go through the armor.
I hate when I run up against a TD because I'm a light medium tank player, so it always hurts for me.
Yeah, well, just wait till the new light tanks get added to the game and you're off playing those and you come across a Type 5.
Oh, I'll be fine once the new Tier 10 lights come out, but when you see these heavy tanks, they're so hard to deal with in lighter tanks. Like if you're Dark God Zim right now, you're sitting here going, guys, what am I supposed to do? Even if I unload into a tank twice or 3 times, there's just too many hit points to deal with. Where everyone else is like, guys, I can deal with that. It's just a mouse. Like, I'm a heavy tank. Don't understand the perspective of the piddly little lights. They don't have the same damage output, the same hit points. They've only got the maneuverability, sneakiness.
And there's going to be 2 of the mouses getting onto Cap. T1 Diabetic's going to go try to get in behind. However, the JPEs are going to be on rearguard duty waiting for him. Now, he can absolutely outmaneuver one of them. However, the other one should be in position to cover the second JPE, so they should be able just fine. However, that one Batchat could pull 2 guns out of the fight if that happens, and that could be a window for Eclipse to exploit.
That's what I'm thinking as well. But this many mouse on Cap is going to be hard to deal with. And here comes a shot out. No connection there from Static, and just in time for Blitz actually to move in as well and try and get a shot onto Photo, but no, not going to happen. And 6 seconds remain on Cap, and
Tigers is going to come around the corner. They're going to snap it off. No reset's coming out, and everyone's blocking. A reset too late. Tigers gets ammo racked, but that's it. That's it. That's over.
Yep. That happened. That just happened, ladies and gentlemen.
You just got fast capped by 3 mouses. I feel so weird for saying that all in the same sentence.
How do you get fast capped by mouse?
How do you get fast capped by one of the slowest tanks in the game, I guess is the real question.
Guys, when you see the tanks and you see them on your cap, you're supposed to drive over there and stop them. That is a mistake by Eclipse. We will give them that one. And I will give some gold stars to Valence for being able to pull that off. Because between 3 mouse getting on cap and 2 JPs to cover, I can understand not being able to approach the cap. But the time that it took to get this, it takes too long. That's too much. And even an ammo rack onto Tigers, by the way, to just kind of put the cherry on top. Amazing.
No-nick and Tigers both getting 30 fantasy points, but nothing really. The only real damage this game was by his own Delta, and that's just because he got the ammo rack onto Tigers there at the end.
Yeah, this is going to be a low points game for them. But Valence, by the way, manages to put a point on the board against Eclipse in one of the strangest fashions we've seen.
Well, and with that win earlier from 07, that means that no matter what, Valence need a result tonight. It's now a 4-point gap between these 2 teams, and with 2 matches left, Valence need at least 1 point to keep their dream alive. Now Valence win the tiebreaker. It's already decided. If they get tied on points, it goes to Valence. So what has to happen is they need at least 1 point tonight, and then possibly 3 points on their last match day. So they long story short, their playoff picture could end tonight if they can't get 1 point. They need at least 1 point to keep the dream alive.
You're telling me that Valence has to tiebreak with Eclipse, a team which, by the way, doesn't need to tiebreak. They need to win because they've already got a close enough race on their side.
They need 3 more wins to tie it up, and they're going to try that with 3 mouses, 3 E3s, and an AMX 1390. Meanwhile, Eclipse, a 50B, an IS-7, a mouse, a Type 5, a Batchat, an E4, and a 1390 out of Eclipse.
Okay, 3 E3s, that's one way to counter out a heavier build. You just got plenty of derpiness right there, and the hit between that and the hit points, I mean, you've got 16,850 hit points to, what is that, the 15,250 of Eclipse. So there's a significant gap right there with what Valence is bringing to the battlefield with armor and hit points, and what Eclipse is bringing to the battlefield for damage as well. Question will be, what's Eclipse going to go for on the attack? And my second question will be, do they really believe that they can just attack against a lineup like this? This is really campy.
Yep, and another thing that should make you happy, Randall, is G-Forcer jumping into the mouse finally.
There he goes.
And the heavy tank where he belongs.
To do what he does best, and that is be a heavy player. And well, we'll just have to wait and see what Eclipse is gonna be up to. Because well, they're chilling out, it looks like. They're kind of holding back. And it looks like the Type 5 is going to try and snipe across the middle of Himmelsdorf, which is, Rox, people don't do that anymore.
With the mouses, and maybe if they run some sort of offhand strat, push over to the 7-8 line, that they'd be there fast enough to catch it out, maybe get some damage.
Guys, if we wait mid and we watch across, maybe we can catch them out crossing. What if they try and go hill?
I don't know anything anymore. With 3 mouses on here, they could try something crazy like that if they're crazy enough to bring 3 mouses and 3 E3s. It's a pretty odd lineup, so you can't really fault Eclipse for taking an extra second. Maybe look for some free damage while they figure out what they're going to do to break this.
It just crossed my mind that if I were a player, I probably would have figured out the timings, the range of timings for a mouse to make it from each spawn position that a mouse can spawn into the hill, and to see what that timing range was so that you could try and spot it. Now I'm wondering if any of the other players have tried to do it. It's a waste of time. It's not going to happen, but it'd be fun to calculate how long it takes. Probably 30 seconds, 45. And here's the first move. We've got Type 5 photo finish, just moving on up 8 line, and that should be the start of the Eclipse cap. They're going to pressure the 2. North side.
Yep, and one thing I don't like here out of Valence is we talk often about these sort of stagnant defenses. And look at this. Valence doing something some of the other teams have done this season, very similar to M60s. That is all the map control they have with this setup. Now, they can get some resets towards the cap, but they're not going to be able to get resets onto the deep corner right here of the cap, even with that E3 right here with an HE shell. So the thing is if Eclipse are smart, what they'll do is they'll find ways to make these tanks rotate to go from one side or the other, and that's going to be a problem with this many super heavies and the E3s and the mouses. If they have to move, they can go back and forth and use this much more mobile lineup that Eclipse have to their advantage.
And note this, that Valence, if they're forced to flex too much, if they have to move too much in order to get the resets on cap, they might run into the same problem that Eclipse ran into trying to defend, and that is it just took too long to get there. With a lineup like this, E3's mouse, they're not that fast. Yep. But notice the way they're positioned, like G-Forcer. He's in a good spot, Blitzwolf and Spooky.
Well, G-Forcer's just there to kind of keep an eye on that 5 line, make sure nothing sneaks in. But he's also extremely vulnerable from tanks on the hill. He's relied just on his armor to stay alive here, and luckily for him, Photo's down here near the cap and not up on the hill where he can sit there and splash him with those HE shells.
And, well, that's going to be some spotting towards cap as well. Looks like Spooky's been lit, and Photo Finish is going to try and cover Dark God Zim. At the same time, I think, who is that TD up on the hill? It's T1 Diabetic. He's taking a little damage in his E4. I think this is part of the criticism that one can have towards the T110 E4, is that it's a little softer and easier to pen. Kind of can work against you when you're paired up against E3s in a pretty much a single lane engagement, where that E3's got a stronger front, just a little bit better in the entire engagement. Now, look at the way the i7 mouse and 50B are from Eclipse. We talked about that they're watching the middle road early on, right? That's what this is all about. This whole strat from Eclipse is 1390 gets on cap, things will attempt to approach the cap. When they fail to get the hits onto our capping 1390, guess what? You've got a bunch of guys down south in position to counter this out. And they're watching and waiting for G-Forcer or someone to just cross.
If you look at the mouses all grouping up right now, the 3 Musketeers are going to make this push and go across.
And they are lit, and fire should be coming from the south. First connection, 441. Not so much on the next shells. But
50B getting some shots off, and now G-Forcer sitting here angling against him.
That's good play right there. He covers his battle buddies for the remainder, and actually is going to be delaying those tanks from Eclipse. Instead of those tanks shifting now to join their friends up in the north and keep this fight on their side, it actually holds them up because they're going to try to keep dealing damage onto G-Force.
Well, and now look at this. This is what I was talking about, making tanks move. Now they know that they've moved all those mouses, that they're stuck on the other side of the map without taking more damage, and they can very easily sneak the 1390 and these other tanks over towards the one cap.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened.
But T1 Diabetic and that E4 just takes a lot of damage.
He's not down yet, and Dark God Zim, the 1390, as you said it, Rox, good call, is going to move on over to the one cap. They're going to take advantage of Valence's lack of mobility. However, Zone Delta is going to be out there in the west, and he should have something to say about this cap pressure from Dark God Zim.
But Dark God Zim is going to have the backup of the 50B, and he knows that Zone Delta's here. So they'll make sure he goes down quickly, and he's going to zoom in. Destroys that. He should be able to sneak a shot through there.
It's tricky. It's going to be down to RNG whether or not he gets what he wants.
And it says yes to that one. Zone Delta is going to be in a world of hurt, and now once again, this slow lineup has to flex around. So great, Valence have a bunch of E3s and Mouses, but right now Eclipse are doing exactly what they need to do to counter them out.
Yep. And there we go. We got a shifting back into position. Looks like Urtai and Spooky making their way back. And let's see if they can kind of drag a little bit more damage out of those Valence tanks while they still can before Eclipse gets pinned in their position. Because I think if this lasts too much longer, that we're going to be sitting here for the rest of the battle. This is not going to make its way back to the 2 cap anytime soon. Although note that there's a mouse actually all the way on the 7 line.
Drock.
He's going to be irrelevant actually. That means that there's 1 mouse effectively off the battlefield.
You know, there's 2 tanks on cap. They need to find a reset onto that 1390 who's still behind that building. Zone Delta is barely alive. Both E3s just pushing up. Dark God Zim does get lit, and now all the Mouses here are here and ready to cover them, but they need to find that reset in the next 20 seconds to have a chance. And Zone Delta may be the key here because these E3s are going to force Dark God Zim to this wide angle.
And and a miss, a crucial miss right there on Dark God Zim from Spooky is going to allow the cap to keep going. Zone Delta tries to put out 1 shell.
And the reset finally... No, never mind. That's not a real reset. 20 seconds.
Oh, Dark God Zim gets off the cap.
And he finally gets reset, and now...
No, he got off the cap. He moved himself off.
And now the Mouses are here along with the E3 trying to do some damage. But Valence are just getting whittled down. They kind of move too far out. Static's completely out of the fight. Another problem you have to worry about these Mouses is if the battle evolves without you, all of a sudden you have a tier 10 and 3,000 HP not anywhere in the fight. Tigers takes down Fulcrus, and this is going very well for Eclipse.
And finally, Static is going to make his way back to the fight. And with 1 minute and 50 seconds left, he'll be able to engage against Tigers. And this is looking great for Eclipse. They'll be able to possibly get the cap and deal plenty of damage while they're waiting. Zone Delta, by the way, has managed to stay alive this entire time.
Yeah, but only 1 minute 40 left. 3 tanks on cap for Eclipse. They're forcing these tanks from Valence to come to them. They are finding the resets. Or they're not getting reset for that matter. And now Ledif is going to come in here and find the kill shot onto Static, but it doesn't matter because cap is now out. And that's going to be Eclipse making this 3-1.
All right, Eclipse putting the lead on. Valence has managed to pick up their 1 win. I think that Eclipse just gave us a beautiful example of how you deal with a heavy, heavy lineup, especially in the attack-defense format. Because that's the point of the 2 caps. The purpose is this. You can't just bring a bunch of heavy defensive tanks, watch your cap, and wait. You've got to manage 2 really inconvenient positions to split 7 players around.
And that's, once again, I was saying it earlier, is a mouse is still a mouse. Yes, it has more armor. Yes, it has a better gun. The problem is it's the size of a 2-story house, and it's slow. So Eclipse showed here exactly what you do to deal with it. You make the other team move back and forth between different points on the map. You make them drive through your guns somewhere where they can't return fire. And then, in this case, they had to drive right out into the open, into all the guns ready for them. And look at all the damage that all these people from Eclipse were able to do. 4K damage, 2 kills, 61 fantasy points to No-Nick. Tigers in the I-7 are 3,371 fantasy points. Ledif, another 3,060. Drock, another 3K and almost 100 fantasy points. And Photo finished 2K and another 85 fantasy points for all the cap pressure he had.
Yeah, this is phenomenal. The amount of the damage numbers you're seeing from these players because of the new patch is it throws almost everything off.
Not just are there more Mouses on the field, but the Mouses also have 200 more HP than they did before. So there's just a lot of HP for these teams to farm. And like we called them earlier, HP pinatas.
Oh yeah, you just keep swinging. Look at that. We're getting ready to actually go now into Mines, Rockstar. And I don't know, are we going to see like Type 5s or Mouse in that one? I'm really skeptical as that we'll see anything like that. I'm not sure I agree with bringing a lot of Mouse to Mines. I think it's something that we can probably stick with older styles.
On a map where Artie's really prevalent, I really see that won't work as well. We saw it earlier. 07 tried it, didn't work out for them. But we'll have to see if Valence can make it work as we head into our next map.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations, but the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village and the other one is in the water. One of the key objectives is the center hill. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets for cover.
And here we go with battle number 5. And it doesn't matter what we think because Valence are going to bring 2 Mouses, a Type 5, 2 Batchets, a TVP, and a T49. So didn't watch the match earlier apparently, saying, all right, 3 Super Heavies on mines. Will their team has artillery? Let's go. Meanwhile, Eclipse, an IS-4, 2 Mouses, or a single Mouse, sorry, 2 Batchets, 2 TVPs, and a Lorraine 155, which will be the perfect tank to deal with these heavy tanks.
That Type 5, I think, is the one, is possibly the more arguable exception to the fact that Super Heavies aren't the greatest idea. Fulcrus is a tank that, well, if he can find a bat chat and connect, he's going to deal significant damage.
We talked earlier about using the Type 5 as a base reset tank, and this is a near perfect example where he can poke around the corner. He has the armor to not take a lot of damage even if guns are staring at him, and he has the HE shell that can splash and get the resets onto the hold down at the cap, the same one that we saw Rival use earlier in the evening.
Yep, and they're spotting towards Ledif. He's going to try and find something, but Fulcrus should, or Ledif should know that it's a little bit, let's say, I really think too aggressive to try and take on a Type 5 in the open like that with the bat chat. Although it's probably just spotting so that Fulcrus will now take an artillery shell from Dark God Zim, I'm willing to bet. I'd expect that's coming in shortly. Where is he? Where is Dark God?
Multiple Batchets,
oh, yeah.
G-Forcer and Static are shifting around north for Valence, and they're already almost A5, completely in behind, and the only tanks back here is the TVP and then the Mouse in the wide open water. So, looks like Static, maybe, nope, he's going to cut to the left. I thought he was going to go for the climb. Oh, nope, he's going to do it. He's going to go at the angle, and he's going to get it.
Not bad, not bad. That's always scary for when I see that jump. It's very, if it goes wrong, it goes really wrong.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to catch out T1 Diabetic in the open. He's going to start getting some damage onto the TVP stuck behind the rock, and he's basically stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point because the Type 4 is on the other end waiting for him to peek around.
Yeah, and Dark God Zim's going to have to tuck in to make sure he stays safe. They don't want to lose that Artie. Not at this point in the battle, not before he's been able to be effective. T49 from Urtai might be able to go Artie hunting in a moment too, if he can sneak on through. This is the kind of lineup where Valence could actually get into the backfield and cause all sorts of trouble. And Fulcrus is going to be able to get some, I think, resets on cap, or at least scare someone away in just a moment. Although it looks like he's worried more about T1 Diabetic than he is about Photo Finish.
And Batchats are going to leave. It looks like the Mouse snuck one shot into Static as he left.
Oh, what are the Batchats from Valence? They decided that, yeah, you don't want to linger, you know?
Well, they got up there. They made them worry about it. Now they're pulling back. They're going to rely the Type 5 Heavy to do exactly that, which is just HE splash that cap. And because they already had to be busy making sure they didn't die to the Batchets, he wasn't ready for that shot onto Fulcrus. Yeah. So now that they've gotten one reset, let's go ahead and see what Valence are doing to hold on to the rest of this game.
I think we need one bat hill, maybe.
Ledif is clipping. He's clipping, and so if he's fired twice, he has
okay, then just go. My bats just go. Bats just go. Mosses get ready to be aggressive. Start being aggressive.
RD just fired.
We're crossing
just fired.
Yeah. We're crossing over.
You gotta go,
Already fired. I just fired.
No Nick shot 1.
Photo is off the cap.
No Nick shot 2.
I'm aimed at Ledif. I'm aimed at Ledif.
No Nick shot 3.
Off your way.
Ledif is too low for me to shoot. If you can force no Nick back, nice.
Oh, nice.
Good Amora.
I'm not gonna get any more G. I'm not gonna get any more in him.
Just stay safe with the bat. Just stay safe with the bat.
Forward over here.
Got 29 here.
Yes, shots on the
Take the shell. He just fired. He just fired.
The TVP is just gonna push me.
TVP's coming for hill.
Focus has to move. Focus is moving.
TVP's coming out.
Clipped.
Does anyone have shots on the? Oh god damn.
Can someone shoot this TVP up here?
Yeah, try and back and block.
No shots.
One shot TVP.
I can miss them. Otherwise, it would have been down to one shot.
Oh my god, fucking.
Shoot, already got me. I'm sorry.
That's why I said that.
I didn't hear what you said. Okay.
I said, oh my god, as in like, really? He just fucking killed you.
Yeah.
All right, and it looks like Valence has decided that they've lost. Although it's not really over yet, is it?
It's pretty close to over just because of the position, and it's only 2 tanks left alive for Valence. So while they have a good bit of HP, it's in 2 super heavies that are being outpositioned pretty much every second right now. Batchat in behind, and Let If, the IS-4 photo finish, has been really making Blitzwolf work this game. Now it's just down to Spooky, who's bouncing a shot off Tigers, and the mouse opposite of him. So yeah, this should be over.
All right, and then Volkris is about to find one. No, he misses it into photo finish.
Photo finish played this near perfectly, didn't let the new heavy tanks bother him at all. Just sat there rocking back and forth, made the miss shots, constantly penned his, and played that position near perfectly. A little bit fortunate for Valence getting the ammo rack onto the Batchat of, I didn't even see who that was. Was that No Nick No Skill, I believe?
Yeah.
Caught him out, but overall just wasn't enough to get the win. Eclipse's response was pretty solid. Photo finish did over 3,000 damage.
Yeah.
Not bad there. I did feel bad for G-Forcer, who was actually apologizing that he got hit by Artie. That's the first time I think I've heard that in a while.
No, that's what you do. If you are a good team player, you apologize for getting hit. You're not supposed to let it happen. Because guess what? Playing Artie's safe. There are ways to avoid Artie, and there's always a way to keep it in mind. There are little subtle things to do, and it's very easy to forget. And many players have forgotten at times. And they kind of lose that discipline and that focus to be Artie safe. And I think that's what G-Force was apologizing for. He recognized that he had the capacity to probably avoid taking a hit, and he didn't take his due diligence to do so.
However, you have
and he's owning up to it. So
I
it's
see
one
what
of
you're
those things
saying,
where,
but at the same time, he also realized that he needed to make a play down there to make that win if Valence were going to win. So he had to take that risk. So I don't necessarily
it's not what he did, it's how he did it. I think it's what he's criticizing himself for. He thinks he could use, because when you apologize for it, you're usually saying, I know I could do better. You don't apologize for something you know you couldn't have done a better job at. If it's something that's out of your hands and you're taking that shell anyway, G-Forcer doesn't apologize. But he's one of those guys that's going to be like, I'm sorry, I could have done better.
I see your point, but I tend to disagree. Anyways, though, looking at the damage panel there, 3K coming out of photo finish, which is pretty respectable, especially considering he had that mouse in Type 5 or multiple mouses in his face pretty early on, as long with his own Delta.
Yeah, the Type 5 that you brought up there, I really thought there was going to be a lot more damage out of that, because 1,138 damage from Volkris on defensive side, he let a lot of shells just kind of go.
Yep. Well,
For a 15-second reload, you can't just let shells go.
Yeah, I agree completely. And their thing is he did get the reset, though, for 38 defense points there at one point. So he did his job there, but once the brawl started, combination of the lack of gun depression on the tank and I don't know if it was just being impatient with the shots, wasn't able to be effective. And now we're going to head into battle number 6. Eclipse have 2 mouses, 3 Batchats, an E4, and an M4043. Meanwhile, Valence, 2 mouses, 3 Batchats, a TVP, and an M4043 of their own.
All right, and this is match point. Eclipse wins here on defense, and they take it all. If Valence wins, they can continue the series.
Valence need at least 3 more wins in a row to keep their playoff dream alive. If they don't, it's effectively giving 07 the last and final playoff spot, guaranteed regardless of the results on the final match days.
But hey, what a way to kind of solidify it against Eclipse, one of the best teams in the league, one of the probably most consistent, high-performing teams in the WGL right now. And well, it would be justice for them, because 5-1 is not a bad scoreline against Eclipse's Valence. You've got 1 season under your belt. You've just gotten in. Your roster's a little bit. It's full of solid players, but maybe it needs some adjustments here or there. Maybe there's some few things to change for next season. Maybe getting relegated isn't bad for Valence. They earned their way here once. They surely can do it.
Well, and remember, they're in 7th place. They get to play the winner of the Gold League qualifier. They don't have to go through the whole relegation system. They just get to play the winner of it to try to keep their spot.
Yeah, although some teams have recently opted, for example, last season to just drop out.
Well, it depends on how many roster changes you want to make. In that current case, they decided they needed to overhaul the roster and bring in enough players to where they couldn't keep their slot, so they just went through the whole requalification system.
Yeah, or if you want to actually avoid the whole process of having to fight to save your spot against a team that could be full of superstars. Because if you get a superstar gold team that comes in, fight you in relegation, then that's one battle to lose, where you could just put a team together and see if you've got the moxie to go through the qualifier. See what I'm talking about like that?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, even if you're in Valence's spot, you could have to do that in the final match of the Gold League qualifier before you play another team to get that shot for sure. So it's kind of this half a dozen of one and a dozen of the other.
Yeah, it depends on the state of your team.
Yeah.
If your team's falling apart, maybe you want to. But I don't think a team like Valence is in that state. I think they're in a place where they might make a few roster changes in the offseason. But aside from that, I don't expect any major overhaul from them. Now, talking about this match that we have now, standard defensive positions from Eclipse. Nothing too special. No boosts on the sides of Eclipse. Valence looks like they've gotten a bat chat.
They got Static up there. He took a little bit of damage from the Mouses, but took a lot of damage from the Mouses. 871, he's alive on 12 HP.
And to note, Dark God Zim is not in a great position to spot Static, but a simple splash shell will take care of Static. And so the option to actually get rid of the tank that's made the boost is, it exists. It's there. Eclipse could do something.
And Eclipse are sitting up significantly higher on HP right now.
Yeah. And also note Fulcrus is at low hit points. He's sitting on. I think actually, never mind. I think that's a glitch. I think he's actually perfectly all right. My bad.
Another shot goes off towards the E4. Does get some damage there. And Valence not looking good right now, getting a lot of resets. Blitzwolf is dead. Spooky is the only tank left on the cap right now. Drak is closing. Ledev's going up in the north. The Batchats for Valence are sitting around in the high ground in the backfield, just hoping that some guns drive through where they can farm them, but Drak is going to come over, find Zone Delta. Zone Delta's going to get lit up, take a lot of damage. 971. We'll have to see if he takes any more damage.
We'll have to see. Fulcrus is about reloaded. That Artie shell could save him. And, is Drak going to go all the way over? No, he's
going to make sure he gets the kill onto Zone Delta, but it's actually going to be T1 Diabetic that gets the pick from downtown.
Yeah, and waiting to see if we're going to lose Static anytime soon, or if Eclipse is going to pick up another kill. If they can do that, one more kill, this is completely over. Although, given enough time, if Valence can get some work done, they might be able to claw themselves back into this, as Artie is now aiming for Tigers. Tigers getting his connection, but
takes down Urtai, and this is looking all but over for Valence, as well as their hope to make the playoffs. The road ends here. It will be Eclipse walking away with this match 5-1 as soon as they can go find. Actually, no, G-Forcer's still alive. Mod's aligned to me once again. My bad.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a little tricky right now. Static, G-Forcer, and Fulcrus are confirmed alive for Valence. G-Forcer is in the backfield, boosted way up in the high ground. He can just hide here. Static is actually he's leaving the high ground now with
Fulcrus
sweet jumps.
In position to get a shotgun. Nonek's going to come around the corner. He has enough HP. He may just take it. Fulcrus sitting here. He's looking for the angle. Fires the first shot. And Fulcrus
fire Fulcrus.
And Nonek picks up the kill.
He didn't shoot. I wish he did. And there he goes. Two last bat chats. Static and G.
The hopes for Valence's season to continue on to the playoffs rest within these two. It's a task I don't think they're up for right now. Nonek closing with G-Forcer. G-Forcer taking a shot from the mouse. Snaps one into Nonek, dodges the second. Gets a nice another connection.
Solid play from these mediums, landing their shells well
connection, and Nonek's going to pick up the kill onto G-Forcer. His photo finish picks up Static, and that is going to be 5-1 in favor of Eclipse.
And I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this Rockstar. I think one of the major ones from tonight is the fact that, yes, the mouse has been buffed. It is more powerful. It is a more potent tank, especially in the hands of some people who have skills. But it is not to be used.
It is not going to be game-breaking.
Yeah, it's also not to be used in excess. It's slow. You lose a lot of mobility. There's something called the Iron Triangle. We hit on this with the question of the day the other day. You've got mobility, armor, and firepower. The mouse brings a lot of firepower and armor. It does not bring mobility. If you don't have enough mobility in your lineups, you're going to have problems. And we saw that evidence here with these lineups. Mouse is a good tank, but just arbitrarily throwing it in, it can do well, but they're probably more well-informed choices that you could make as a team.
T1 Diabetic doing 4,000 damage in 1 kill, getting 62 fantasy points. No Dick, No Skill, 3,500, 3 kills, getting almost 140 fantasy points. Not bad. G-Forcer, top performer for Valence, as well as Fulcrus, who also did another 1,500. The rest of the team, not so lucky, though. Spooky, only able to get 1 shot, only 21 fantasy points, letting me down into my grave a little bit.
Did you pick Spooky today?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Second time in a row. I figured one day it's a fluke, he'll be back next day. But nope, and
there are players who just won't put up good numbers sometimes. And it's not because they're not good. It's that, well, sometimes there are a bunch of soft stats or things that they're intangible that are going on.
Looking at the fantasy points, No Nick, No Skill coming up top there for his team. Looking at the second page, not a whole lot of points here, including Spooky 155. Oof, that hurts.
It's okay. Everyone that I picked from this match was on the first page.
Top points from tonight: Flack, Executives, Warbender, No Nick, No Skill, Makos, Commodore, Arklet. See 3 of my players up on that first page.
Yeah, I've got Warbender up there, and I also managed to get Makos, so I got the 2 top 07 guys as well. Managed to slip a few Eclipse players.
Photo finish coming in there, 3,500. Zakum, Commander J.
Those are not bad picks for me. I feel okay about tonight. Commander J, I was saying him earlier. He seemed like a solid
He used to be a very solid fantasy pick this season with rivals struggling. He even got benched at one point.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to kind of show up and blow up like he used to with other teams' different play styles. He doesn't really fit that role on Rival, right?
Yep. So you guys, speaking of fantasy and Commander J and everything, you guys can check how you did shortly after the broadcast. Soon as our fantasy admins have the website updated. That can be found at the fantasy website at wgl.gg/fantasy WGLNA. And you can also set your roster for the next match day on the following Tuesday. So it's always a good time. Make sure you get in there.
Yeah, and also, guys, thank you so much for tweeting at us using @WGLNA, #WGLNA. We really appreciated those. I love seeing them on the broadcast. Don't forget to join us for the Facebook Live portion of our show next week. Same time, same place, facebook.com/WGLNA. And then after that, come on over here for this broadcast. It's been an absolute pleasure, Rockstar. We're looking at a changing league coming up. So thank you so much. Good night. Good game.
Have a good night, everybody.